Hey, welcome everyone to another Super Metroid A Link to the Past combo randomizer tournament. I'm Maniacal, and I am excited about this match tonight. We have a matchup between Maximum Barnage and zentrigger. I am joined tonight on commentary by Chadwell. How are you doing, Chadwell?
I'm doing well. It should be an interesting matchup. Both of these runners will put on a very good race for us, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. They're both very solid players. I'm, sort of familiar with each of them in terms of their play. I'm excited to watch it though. They're, like you said, both very, very good. I'm pulling up the group information on challenge right now because I've clearly done my homework. But I've just, as soon as I saw this match on the schedule, I got excited, and the runners are off. Fortunately for us, the first couple minutes aren't all that interesting. We're probably going to see both runners go right to A Link to the Past.
Yeah, that is the normal play. While there is one item in logic down at the morph pedestal, it's a long way to go for just a single item, and just poor item density for immediate checking.
Yeah, although we do see zentrigger is making that gamble.
And that is a way you could, if there is something down there, that could give you a very early advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a way that you can sort of get an early play. And ooh, their Maximum Barnage finds 50 rupees in Sanctuary. It looked like he might have been running a Houlihan opener, but I think we might see him opt out of it here on the basis of having rupees to buy bombs. But no, he's still going for it. That is like a strong preference.
Just a piece of heart on the morph pedestal. zentrigger will check the Brinstar ceiling item as well, though.
Yeah, dude wants his cash and fire rod for zentrigger in Blue Brand.
Well, that's a nice early find.
Yeah, out of logic right now. It's going to be behind some sort of speed booster or high jump boots or space jump in Super Metroid. But as we saw, they're able to be collected pretty easily with an enemy knockback. So that might loom large.
Yeah, and Maximum Barnage finding the Spazer inside of Link's house.
And it looks like he is going to run a south to north CAC route. I'm a fan of this route. Definitely one that I support. But while we have kind of these standard early game checks, I just kind of wanted to check in about the tournament in general. So both of our runners today are 1-0 out of Group V. Maximum Barnage defeated Xenoman 2812, and then zentrigger defeated Whirly to secure their places in this matchup. And then Whirly actually has since defeated zentrigger and awaits the loser of this match. But the winner of this match is going to punch their ticket tonight into the playoff bracket. So a good amount at stake for the runners. They will, of course, have another chance. Anyone who goes 2-1 or better in the group stage will make it into the bracket stage. But, this is a good opportunity to not have to play that third game for both these guys.
Yeah, and it's always good to stay on the winning foot. Increase your... I don't know.
I mean, just to have that 2-0 momentum help your seed in the playoffs, there's a lot of good going for it. zentrigger does opt out of the Houlihan, which is nice. I'm going to save a little bit of time there. Just a red rupee at the library. But yeah, the way this format works is it's a group stage where basically you play until you accrue 2 losses. 4-player groups, 2 of those 4 players are going to make it through into the playoff bracket. And we did see Maximum Barnage do a blind race game check, also a thing of which I'm a fan, finding his silvers. Our tracker, Razor Flame Kun, is letting me know. I did see it, but
yeah, and that is
to our tracker. He will see everything.
while both of these runners can surely beat the game without silvers, it is a very nice item to have. There are a lot of bosses that are much easier to beat if you have the bow and silvers available to you.
Yeah, but you know how it is with early silvers. Early silvers go mode bow, right? So we'll see
Well,
if it
that's
comes
true.
out as relevant.
And we find a glove in the chicken house.
That is actually a relevant find. Unlike that Spazer from Link's house that both players have gotten.
Yeah, that opens
Glove's
up
gonna... Yeah, go
multiple
ahead.
checks. The back of Escape, it opens up Death Mountain access. Not
Yeah,
necessarily logically without a lamp, but most runners are probably comfortable making that dark trek.
Yeah, it can be a little finicky without, I guess, without having the ability to see with anything but bombs. But that mirror is going to incentivize that play up to Death Mountain. Although it also is going to save him a little bit of time on that South Shore play, so we'll see. He'll only have to go into the dam once. Mirror is a great early find.
Yeah, and if you can find it before you go into Dark World, there's a lot of checks you can just sort of route in more conveniently.
Yeah, Barnage clearly hates block deletion. I'm not sure why he hates it so much, but look at him pushing all these blocks like a clown.
I think that's probably just
What's he
habit
doing? You
more
just
than
got mirror,
anything.
dude. Yeah, Barnage is a good real life friend of mine, so I'm just gonna razz him for the next 3 hours. And zentrigger does not make the blind race gameplay. We'll probably see him go get those silvers with one of his 2 bombs. Yeah, before chat feels like I'm just being mean in an unwarranted way to Barnage, it's totally warranted. Don't worry about it.
And Barnage takes the bottle that he found to the sick kid, just finds some missiles.
That's a great find for CAC. That's one that you want to knock out early. Don't want to isolate sick kid and then find your bottle after an hour and then just forget about it, which is oddly likely to happen. Bottle is one of those things, because there's 4 of them, if you get one really late, you can just assume that sick kid has been checked and just completely whiff on an important item there. So it's good to see that early for both our players.
Yeah, and it's nice to be able to check that off the list. Okay, and go, okay, the only thing I have left to check in Kakariko is to activate my flute if I fanged it. Boom, done.
Yeah, Barnage is grabbing a lot of early rupees, getting all 4 from that tree pull. The red one in the well was kind of tough to avoid, even though it came with a fanfare. He is set up so that if he finds a 300 drop, he'll be in good shape to make that in-logic Zora play, one of those crappy locations that gets opened up by having the glove. But first we're going to see him make that back of escape. This will be a really useful play, just to help him inform himself about how he wants to do early front of escape, or if he wants to. If he finds, map small key back here, it'll really kind of draw him to that early front. A lot of items there then.
High jump boots is good. Cape is not so good. That's not an item you necessarily want to see early.
Yeah, it's a nice safety, but of course there's always the risk of it being your access to Castle Tower or upper Castle Tower into Dark World, so that's not something that runners really generally want to see, but it is actually kind of nice if they get themselves in a bad situation in a dark room or something, that, being able to maybe turn that cape on could be helpful if enemies are beating them up. Oh, Barnage remembering he has the mirror. There it is. He remembered. He used it in Sanctuary. I gotta give him credit where credit's due.
Yeah, I am glad that he remembered before he pushed all of the blocks. And he will pick up those 3 bombs. Likely expecting that he he will need to use bombs to get through the mini Moldorm cave.
Yeah, and we see Barnage going for not the Desert Ledge Scout, but going immediately to again. I know this is a play that he's pretty fond of. And so we'll see if he finds anything here. Not isolating this location very big early, because this is one of those ones that can be hard to route in. And he knows he's saving quitting out of here. He just wants to get in as fast as possible, and it's trash. But at least it's marked off. It's not going to be a loose square for him later.
Yeah. He will never have to come back to that part of the desert.
Yeah, and on zentrigger's side, we saw a lower blinds hut, which we'd also, of course, seen when Barnage did it, but didn't get to talk about. 2 power bomb packs here, and a super pack. Very, very good ammo distribution from one dense location for early Super Metroid dives. If they do happen to find an early morph ball, we might see someone get pretty anxious to make that play. Good ammo loadout to start things off.
Yeah, I do like having at least 2 packs of power bombs if I can help it going into Super Metroid. It just makes routing through areas like Brinstar much easier.
Oh, for sure. Really, the first 3 packs of power bombs, not just because of crystal flashes, are all very, very useful. Saving quit out a sick kid here for zentrigger. As Barnage finds his lamp, that is pointing to Tower of Hera at this point. But we're probably going to see the play through to Ice Rod Cave here, as he has enough bombs to bomb out the wall. The Smoldorm Cave didn't go too badly for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I will suspect we will see him go up and rescue the old man. And probably at least dip Hera, even though he currently doesn't have a weapon to finish the dungeon.
Yeah, and right now he doesn't have a fire source for basement either, although, of course, those high jump boots that we saw Barnage get do put that location in Bryn Ceiling in logic, which really makes me think that there's a fire-locked item hanging out in Tower of Hera.
Well, he does have the lamp.
And a Moon Pearl, so we're looking a sword away from
Aga
at least getting into Dark World.
Yeah.
And there it is. We have a Crystal Eastern, Crystal Desert, and Blue Pendant Hera. So now Hera is looking kind of crappy.
Yeah, so it looks like we will... looks like Barnage is going to get a bomb refill. And then I assume we'll see what Sasrahala has for us in his closet.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the route left to Uncle and Front of Escape here either, but it does look like he's splitting the sash first.
That's true.
Sahasrara is one of those locations that you also don't want to leave until too late and miss out on things. So the thing that's really disincentivizing making the Dark World through Castle Tower play is that A, no sword, but B, we're a hammer or a glove away from much, much more cozy Dark World access. And so that early glove is probably going to put our runners in a disincentivized place, but we will see if Barnage decides to gamble and make that play. He does now have access to Dark World.
Yeah, does find a sword in the back of Sastrahala's closet, and we also saw that Mystery Meyer is the green pendant.
It's funny, because it's no longer a mystery. It's just a misery.
Yes.
We don't want to have to go get that green pendant, but we'll see. It may turn up necessary. And zentrigger waffling a little bit about where to go. Looks like he's going to be the first one to make that play up to Uncle and Front of Escape. Still hasn't done South Shore, so doesn't have that lamp yet.
No, so it's likely we won't see him immediately go and do the Aga play, but I don't think either runner would be doing that right off the bat, just in hopes that they can find a hammer or another glove.
And okay, so we have various suit here in Eastern. That's actually a really big find for Barnage. That's one that you could potentially leave until much, much later. We'll see if Front of Escape gives zentrigger anything, although I would expect Barnage in this matchup probably to be very thorough in his Sphere 0/Sphere 1 checks. Just because I think he does have a slight movement edge, but you know, it's not entirely settled for sure.
Yeah, and with that high jump and Various suit, as well as the access to Death Mountain that the runners have, that would actually put Bubble Mountain in logic.
Yeah, high jump in Varia and Death Mountain does put Morphless Bubble Mountain in logic, the bane of my existence right now. So far, nothing good in Escape, and we have both the Compass and Map from Eastern, so Barnes is going to do this Vanilla Big Key check to get his Vanilla Big Key and get one more item out of the big chest. We'll see if his Rupee affinity leads him into the Rupee room in the back of Eastern. I wouldn't be surprised based on how strongly he's been prioritizing his rupees so far this run. Really nice bomb strats and fire rod strats now in Escape that we're seeing from zentrigger. First chest guard, he did an excellent job with the bomb strat.
And asks him, Barnage has one more check to make here in Eastern without the bow.
Yeah, unless this is exactly bow, we're gonna probably saving quit out, not even mirror out. And there he goes. We'll see where he goes from this. If he makes that play to Uncle and Front of Escape, or looks like Death Mountain.
Did not see a small key in the back of Escape, and zentrigger did not find one in the front. That means that the small key is at Dark Cross.
Yes. I didn't remember if we didn't see one in back of Escape. I know we didn't see Barnage carry the play through, but we'll get another check here from zentrigger.
Yeah,
but
I thought we didn't see one.
He doesn't get a key. And Barnage all about this 5 rupee tree pull. And he's gonna bush crab. Okay, he's not gonna bush crab farm. I was gonna give him some heck about that one. Okay, yeah, it was the Cape high jump boots and missiles. So yeah, he's double checking. He's seeing I don't have a key. I do have the map. We're out of there. Zentrigger with the right read on Dark Cross's contents. But yeah, this Death Mountain play, especially with early Varia and early high jump boots, I really want to press this directly to Bubble Mountain if I'm Barnage, over going to Fire Sourceless Hera as a pendant dungeon.
Well, he does. I said he does have a fire source. It's just not.
Oh yeah, it's the lamp, the fire. I was still zeroed in on that right, fire rod in the ceiling.
Fire rod.
It's just that we have both the fire sources and both the rods. Only 18 minutes in. Seed is free.
Ice rod.
Clearly.
But yeah, I would think doing Bubble Mountain would be preferable over doing Pendant Hera. Well, 300 rupees, I'm sure we will see. And the flippers. Well, that's like, get the flippers and you get your money for for Zora all at one time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nice pickup here. Obviously, well, we see zentriggers finding it right away. It's not something that we think that any runner is going to miss. And unfortunately, we do think Barnage is going to miss that bomb jump, but that's okay.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't put you... Oh, he's just giving up on... Okay. He is going to save and quit to the mountain and continue doing the checks there.
That's the play that makes sense.
Whereas it looks like zentrigger didn't even attempt to do the bomb jump. It's just going to go out through these mini moldorms and...
Yeah, and we see Barnage is going to stay in Link to the Past over going into Morphless Super Metroid. It's a safer play, in the sense that he's guaranteed to be able to full clear Hera and get both the items.
Yeah. And we get our Dark World check. Ice Palace is the other pendant. And I missed which were the 5-6 crystals.
And zentrigger, unfortunately, missing the kill on the Sova. So he's going to have to wait for that thing to go the whole way around the room. It's a pretty big room, but that guy's zooming. So he'll make it back. He'll be able to get out. But this is one of those risks of going into Upper Norfair Morphless. If you just have a little hiccup in that room, you lose 15 seconds. And we have a big key and one item down in Tower of Hera already. So not that exciting. Quarter heart piece, but at least it's one to check off, and so Barnage, if he finds the other one, will know when to stop checking chests.
And it looks like zentrigger is also going to head up to Hera.
Yeah, we'll see if we get a repeat of that map check from zentrigger. I always forget to do my map check here, and he remembers. So we have Skull Woods and Swamp Palace, nice long map check here, and Red Pendant Ice Palace to go with that Green Pendant Mire.
Yep.
No hammer at Pyramid Ferry today.
Of course, since zentrigger did not dip Eastern, he does not have the Varia, so I guess there's less incentive for him to go into Super Metroid, even though he did go in to check the high jump item.
A lot of people consider that Morphless high jump boots item check as basically a Link to the Past overworld, just because it's always accessible when you get Death Mountain access, and it is so fairly quick and easy unless you miss the Sova. Well, we see Barnage going for it as well. It's a nice first check. I think we're going to see Barnage continue to make a little bit more of a play. Barnage also going to screw that up, forgetting to crouch before firing his missile. There's not a lot he could do from there, so both our runners are going to lose some time here. Barnage is firing into a hole where there's bomb blocks in the way right now. Maybe a sign of consternation. But that Sova might just sneak up on him from below here. We'll see how it goes. In Super Metroid Rando only, that is a shot block in some of the modified versions, so it's possible he's thinking about that.
Yeah, or just giving himself something to do while he waited.
Yeah.
Just 20 rupees at the back of Croc Escape.
And quickly enough, the Sova does come back around. It looks like he is only doing that check as well. I guess he's thinking about those flippers.
Yeah, I mean, he does have the money for Zora, and that is a pretty high density of checks that you can do all at once.
Yeah, I know Barnage is more comfortable in A Link to the Past as a player. And so it does make sense that we may see him biased towards some of these checks. But
it does look like
I am kind of surprised to see him bail on that Upper Norfair play.
front of escape. I if I were Barnage, I think I would have put off doing escape just in case you did get in a situation where you were going to have to do AGA, then you could just route it all in at once.
Yeah, it's not that much slower. And if he's trying to be really thorough about Sphere Zero, I can kind of see this play. I also do disagree with it, although if he does Morphless Bubble Mountain, there's a bunch of slow stuff in there. There's some kind of crappy wall jumps. Maybe he's not even thinking about it. It's just more likely that he wants to try and just single dip that area. He might be thinking that it's fairly likely that Morph Ball ends up here in front of Escape.
Unfortunately, we know that there is pretty much nothing in the front of Escape.
Yeah, but there's 3 chests that he doesn't have to worry about for later.
Yeah, and he can this way know that Dark Cross is just dead and doesn't have to worry about that any further either.
Yeah, one of the rough things about SMZ3 is that it's kind of a full clear game until it's not. In the sense that you won't see runners make a ton of skips because the downside of making a check that's blank is kind of small relative to the downside of missing a check that was easy to get. And there's just so many items that you need across both games that it really does favor sort of full clear.
Yeah, and usually you just full clear everything until you hit go mode, and then go mode whatever you have left at that point.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to see the flippers checks here from zentrigger first. This is going to get him 5 additional item checks. We already saw Hobo was a bit of a bust, but it's going to mark things off this map. Going to get Waterfall Cave, and then Zora and the Zora Ledge all accessible with flippers here. I like this play because flippers is pretty down logic being up on Death Mountain, and so chasing this is kind of a good call, and we see that second sword. Actually kind of nice.
Yeah, that is a nice find. You don't want to have to be... The worst thing you can have happen is to end up with sword as your go mode.
And
Ooh, and there's
like
a hook shot.
is not about flippers today. He wants to go straight for the pyramid. How many blue balls is he gonna get?
Well, that's actually a bit inconvenient, though. You have to go up to the mountain to get the flippers to come back and get your hook shot.
Yeah, and inconvenient is the name of the game when it comes to fighter sword Aga Tower, especially without having the fire rod.
Yes.
And Barnage, 6 hearts green mail, like very doable, but not something I'm excited about. And we do see that hookshot grab there on Zora Ledge. That's a pretty big find. That's going to open up the East Death Mountain checks. I think we may see zentrigger go right for it.
Yeah, that seems like a good call. Paradox Cave has 7 items, plus there's the additional item at Spiral Cave.
Yeah, we've got 8 extra items plus a scout in logic here. And you know, that's pretty good, and that also kind of points to this Aga play. Flips and hookshot, a fine way to get to West Dark World through Aga. Not anyone's favorite, but
that's true. It does give you access across and back again if you need to.
Yeah, this is a rough seed so far for our runners. There's kind of a choice of crappy plays. It's the Morphless Bubble Mountain that zentrigger doesn't know about, or the Flips Hook West Dark World through Aga that Barnage doesn't yet know about, despite the fact that he's going through Aga now. Normally, you don't see strong divergence within 30 minutes in these, but here we are today. This is going to be a fun race. We have Bombos in Paradox Cave.
Both
and
runners
the
making
all-important
different choices. Zentrigger not going to attempt the bomb jump, just going to walk around.
Yeah, and it's not too bad if you don't get the bomb jump. You just come down here to the lower right corner, walk up the stairs, and you're there anyway. It's not so bad.
Yeah, it's not a huge time save to do the bomb jump.
And that's a decent point from chat. With the plasma beam that we did see on the lumberjack ledge being a relatively nice Super Metroid safety, you know, entirely a luxury item, unless of course it is the only thing that gives us a way to deal with the pirates in Plasma Room. Could be something that Barnage is eyeing. If he finds boots, he could be viewing that as upside to offset the time of the Aga play.
Well, and that's true. It is always nice to have the plasma beam if you can get it. It makes killing enemies in Super Metroid much faster and safer.
Yeah, we've got 2 blue balls so far for Barnage. Okay, he didn't lose all his coin flips. 15 is dead. Yeah, this flips plus hook is leading me to think that Barnage might be on the right play. But that I don't know if I make this play before I go over to Bubble Mountain. Man, this is some bad Aga luck, but it wasn't perfectly bad.
Yeah, because I know I've had seeds where I've made that Aga dive before and then checked a location that I could have checked and found the hammer there, and then you just feel bad. It's like, oh great, I did Aga for nothing.
Yeah, this is definitely still in the territory of gambles, but like we were saying, it's kind of a choice of bad options right now for our players.
Yes, that's very much true.
Let's see if the pyramid's gonna pay off today. Super's worth grabbing. Not what you're looking for, but now the question is, how far do you carry this play? You don't have hook shot. You're probably gonna go do catfish with your glove, but this is actually a nice play for Barnage because you can catfish into mirror flipper checks. So he did split against the flippers, but I actually like what he's doing here. I'll give him his
that's true. Yeah, that does make sense. He can always do the...
I know when Barnage watches this back, if he does, he's gonna be like tilting at me against like this Aga play, thinking, man, I'm doubling it up with my flippers checks. Why are you being such a jerk? And the answer is because I'm not good at this game. That's the answer.
Alright, Zentrigger decides that he's had enough of Hera, isn't going to worry about finishing it, and just leaves.
Fighter Sword or even Master Sword Moldarm. Are we still on Fighter Sword with Zentrigger? He's slashing a sword.
Yes, because he did not get the sword that Barnage found.
Okay, so we have 2 swords. But, yeah, and this is actually kind of cool. We may see him come back from, and he's going to get a green potion here, change in V11, by the way. These empty bottles always turn into green potions now. You know, it's still nice free green potion. And he's going to get his hook shot and still have his mirror portal, so he can continue this play over into West Dark World, and I expect him to feel like he's getting paid off for it.
Alright, and looks like Zentrigger was planning to head to Aga, but then realized he didn't have any magic, is coming to get the 2 small mana pots there.
Man, both these guys not digging the idea of getting over into into upper norfair. A little more excusable for zentrigger on the basis of not having gone into eastern, but I'm surprised he left eastern for so long.
Yeah, maybe decided to put off checks where he couldn't do full clears.
Yeah, I like we said when Barnage found that Varia is like that's one of those things that could be a big play, and by doing Aga into Dark World here, Barnage is making sure that it's not a big play just yet, but he is ahead at least on this line that it looks like zentrigger is also thinking about those flips. And Barnage didn't take his Dark World access. Instead, he's going to go do the hook checks in Light World first, which I don't like because he's already priced in Aga, but I guess it does only buy him Hammerless Thieves right now. And that's not a particularly sweet-looking option.
No. Yeah, since he has not been down to Retro Bryn to get the Fire Rod, he wouldn't know that Skullwoods would be completable at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he could be looking at it like, I have a bad playthrough to Hype Cave, but that takes time. I don't really want to do it right now. I can get behind this. It's kind of a quick node, and it's not that slow for him to go back to the Aga portal and then hookshot across. But I thought the hype of the hookshot may have sent him to West Dark World. Barnage does now have his Master Sword, a shield, and a Bomber's Medallion. Looks good for his bomb jump, and he's across. Zentrigger guys, four hearts left right now into Upper Aga Tower. That shield putting in work. Holy gosh, that shield just blocked 2 arrows in that room. Value from the crap shield.
Well, that is the use that it does have.
And meanwhile, we see the slow spiral cave and the already seen it Upper Aga Tower. All the best times to talk about really whatever we feel like. As we now have another decision juncture for Barnage.
Like he is going to head back into the Dark World.
Yeah, and I like this play. This leverages that Zora domain hookshot, which is pretty down logic, as well as having done the Aga play, into a whole bunch of items. So there's a whole bunch of locations over here, each of which is increased value relative to some of the other stuff that was earlier in logic that he could do. Now he is setting up with the mirror here.
Probably starting with the hobo.
Yeah, that makes a good bit of sense. Both runners are following that Dark World access through Aga with hookshot and flippers ahead of Death or Bubble Mountain access, which is Bubble Mountain's not that slow, guys. It's like a 6 item and 2 scout pendant dungeon. It's not that bad. It doesn't even have keys.
Oh, and the high jump is a not bad way of making those jumps.
Yeah, I mean, you just walk through it. It's like very, very free. It can be inconvenient. You can soft lock yourself over at Wave Beam. And, there's other things we could grumble about, but like it's not like we have a really bad loadout for it. We are going to get this mirror ledge check. This is one of those inconvenient ones to route in that if you're doing Dark World, you can end up with this pretty well isolated, so we know both runners are going to go past it, but it's also one that you could potentially forget. So we'll see if it turns out to be anything.
And it is just missiles today.
Yep, that's a big nope. Barnage doesn't even grab them. Right choice.
Yeah, you'll pick up so many missiles in chests that there's no point in picking up any of the ones that are line visible.
Yeah, so items in Super Metroid have a half-second text box, whereas the items in A Link to the Past have a full fanfare, and so it's a lot worse to grab items in A Link to the Past than it is in Super Metroid. And so leaving a lot of those sort of convenience things hanging around, especially once you have sufficient other resources, definitely a good call. And zentrigger's choosing to buy a bottle full of stuff. Reasonable pickup there for him. Good use of his mirror as he heads up to the catfish.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to get. If you've got the bottles, it's nice to have the potions as sort of a backup safety.
And what we're seeing from Barnage here is a good thing to keep an eye on. Definitely want to count the items here, see if we find both of them in front of the fire rod, because we know Zentrigger is going to have the option to get both items and complete the dungeon when he gets over here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very interesting mummy statue room strat from Barnage. Okay. I was going to say, I don't know how he's planning on clipping through the statue. I thought we were going to see some hot new tech, instead we just saw bad NMG play. I was like, man, is there a cheat for Mummy Statue Room? Can we clip this statue now? Because that would be some sweet tech.
Yeah,
but,
that
alas.
would be pretty useful for that room.
And we'll see if Zentrigger turns to go up to check his mirror spot. He is going to go find his missiles, and Barnage finding compass map to lead off Skullwoods. Bad feeling.
Yeah, and with no small keys, it's going to have to fall down the hole instead.
Yeah, he did route it kind of middle to front, giving himself maximum options to find the small key, and unfortunately it was in that spot. And the big key, well, he can at least walk right over to it, do a bomb jump, and check one more thing. We'll see if it's the fabled double back of Skullwoods items, or if we actually at least get one thing here out of this play.
Ooh.
Wow, completely bodied.
So both items are in the back.
Yeah, so we have two Fire Rod locked items that Zentrigger's going to be able to check out.
So if Zentrigger goes straight to the back, they will save themselves a lot of time in Skullwoods.
Absolutely. And this is that early Bryn play that's looming large for Zentrigger. Barnage, without Morph, it's going to be a long time before he finds his way back down there, unless he gets hard-gated through Skullwoods. And, like, if it's something like Hammer here and then something else is in Bottom of Thieves, like, this could snowball very rapidly for Zentrigger.
Yeah, or if we find Morph in the back of Skullwoods, which would be just a cruel thing for the seed to do.
Yeah, especially with that split against Morphless Bubble Mountain, that would be almost a worst possible. And Zentrigger is going straight for the back. So, he's very interested in Fighter Sword Moth. He might have been thinking about that when he bought that blue potion, because that is not a great 7-heart greenmail fight. And right now, the one advantage that Barnage has is that Variasuit, and it's just not something that he's very keen to leverage after putting so much work into the Aga play. So there's not a lot going for Barnage right now, but Tempered Sword is a nice find.
Wow, we already on third sword.
Yeah, zentrigger still only on one of them. I missed that second chest there in Thieves. And Barnage
It was just a dungeon. Looks like just a dungeon item.
Okay, yeah, just taking the death to get some free hearts. And Fighter Sword Moth here on our right screen as I get distracted by a miserable fight. This fight is not fun. I mean, I guess A Link to the Past is not fun though, so, you know, what am I talking about? Game's all miserable.
Well, and Mothula, I think,
anymore?
is one of the most miserable of the boss fights.
Oh, and yeah, true to that, it is miserable for zentrigger as he takes a death after using his blue potion. So now he has bad option against bad option here.
Yeah.
Red boomerang for Barnage. Not even worth picking up, but unfortunately he got stuck with it. Already has flippers and already has hook shot, so red boomerang not really doing much. And zentrigger, not much magic either, so maybe is going to have to do like some sort of miserable fighter sword thing. Oh, it looks like he's going to use Fire Rod and Scylla to try and kill the Gibdos. That worked out pretty well. And is going to then lamp his way through. I don't think he's going to have enough to Fire Rod shot to this this last torch, though.
Oh, he actually had a second potion, so...
Is going to have to be careful on the second go-round with Moth, though.
Yeah, does not have any more bottles, I don't believe, to use.
Morph bombs there in the attic, 3 items down. So good chances at, without a small key yet, at being okay. The last thing we want to see is a small key at Maiden's Chest. If it's not a small key at Maiden's Chest, we're guaranteed the last item is available, and that the small key is hammerlocked itself. And zentrigger makes it through his Moth fight. And it's good for an energy tank.
Alright, well, we'll have to see what the other item is.
Yeah, we got a couple consternation swipes there at that E-tank. I don't know, I don't hate E-tanks. I'm kind of cool with them.
He may have been hoping for something more, for having what he knows was a gamble that he made to get that Fire Rod early.
Yeah, we see he gets to check the crappy chest here, and we know it's an item, so see what he gets, see if Fire Rod leads us to anything, or if we're kind of back to an unused Variasuit as the advantage. Yeah, nothing behind Fire Rod.
Yeah, and unfortunately he won't know that he did save himself time by having the Fire Rod to do this. All he'll know is, well, I didn't find any progression there.
Yep, in his head it's no progression, died to Moth. And so, like, that's a feels bad. So far, Barnage keeping blind relatively on script here. Lost a few frames, but, you know, easy enough fight, cleans it up pretty cleanly. Gets the map. Unfortunately, we have a hammerlocked item. Or no, we have a hammerlocked small key.
Yep, just a hammerlocked small key.
What was the item at Maiden's Chest?
I don't know. I was too busy watching the Mothula fight.
Yeah. Oh, five rupees we're seeing from our tracker. Shout out to Razor
Okay.
Flame Coon. Holding it down while we get distracted by Fighter Sword Mothula. I hope they're paying Razor Flame Coon well. And I think Barnage did all of the Dark World, Overworld, and Village of Outcasts. So we have the Digging Game, Stump Kid, and Hype Cave left before we're looking at getting pretty throttled through that Morphless Bubble Mountain play.
Yeah. It may very well be forced on the runners.
We have the mirror check as well. I didn't even mention, but we'll see. We'll see what we find here.
Oh, and there is the Morph Ball.
Okay, so Morphless Bubble Mountain was not the play. It was coming over here. Although, I want to keep an eye on what items were available over to see if we could have broken around Aga with it.
Yeah, there's still the chance that the hammer was over there.
Yeah, hammer, glove, gravity suit plus speed. You know, there's a bunch of ways that we could have gotten around it still. That's why I was so surprised with the glove, seeing both runners go for it. And sure enough, we are going to see Barnage finish the play here. Without hammer, I kind of want to see him make the one check in front of Swamp. Just because there's no way you're ever coming back here if that's hammer. It's one of those, like, you're going to last location it if it's the thing, and it's relatively low cost. It's going to cost about a minute to make the check. Yeah, if I get crappy Dark World access and find a whole lot of nothing, and a Morph Ball, but I'm over here, I'm getting worried about that, and there's no easy way back, and it looks like he is headed back for that first item swamp play.
And Hype Cave did not end up having anything particularly useful.
Yeah, it was Morph and nothing, which, you know, suggests go and chase Morph, do all that stuff. But I like getting this check out of the way right here.
You still have the mirror to get back quickly.
I mean, if this is nothing, it's a save and quit back to Death Mountain.
Yeah, or just a save and
quit to
reset.
Pyramid, mirror, and then... Or
just save and reset to the ship and just go from there. Either way.
I mean, you could lead Bryn Loop here. I like leading Upper Norfair with Varia already, or going straight to Kraid to at least get something done. Yeah, unfortunately, Zentrigger taking a death there in the Hellway, aptly named in Thieves Town. And Barnage needs to kill the little water guy, the little water spider, to get the key chest to spawn. Did you catch what the stun prize was? It looked like Zentrigger was thinking about it and then opting against it. Yeah. Just a blue mail, so not really all that useful, but like it's a nice safety to have.
It's a nice safety, but not what you were hoping for if you're making that gamble.
Yeah, probably still worth the time. At 8 hearts, just because it tells you to not grab any more heart containers that you don't have to. So, you know, you can kind of make it work.
And it looks like Barnage is going to go into Upper Norfair.
Yeah, and I like the play here. Definitely something that would have been on his mind, and it's going to, if he stays in Upper Norfair, leverage the fact that he got that very out of Eastern in a very, very missable location. And nice job, first try there on getting the Sova before it gets away.
just 20 rupees at high jump.
Yeah, we'll see if we see the Morphless checks here. We'll have confirmation soon enough on whether that Aghanim play was logically required or not if he heads over.
Zentrigger takes another death in Thieves Town.
Yeah, at least he got the floor opened that time. And it looks like he is making the play right to Kraid's lair. I like this play. Unfortunately, it isn't going to tell us whether that Aga play was required.
Yeah, we still want to see what's at Bubble Mountain so we can know one way or another.
Yeah, we've seen the other accessible morph locations. We've seen everything behind all the items so far. We just need to know what's in the 5-ish locations over in Bubble Mountain that are accessible. And I guess alpha power bombs as well. So alpha power bombs also something that we could see be part of our puzzle.
Yep.
Zentrigger making use of that chest 3 red boomerang though to hit the crystal switch. That's being a good opportunist there. And deciding he didn't like the RNG on the Patrick Star the first time, decides to reset the room. That's kind of a cool thing. Barnage with the 100 HP Kraid stand-up. Also, he fired a super into Kraid's lower lip, so Kraid is not going to be happy about it. Is going to give him the bad RNG here. Oh, the real bad RNG where you miss his mouth. That's not what you want to have happen.
But he does get Kraid down.
Yeah, reasonably nice drops, and he's through the fight, and he gets another bottle. I caught the blue rupee that time. I did it. Confirmed blue rupee at Maiden Chest.
And Zentrigger also getting to feel happy, knowing he does not need to come back to Thieves Town.
Yeah, Hammerless Thieves is always like a little bit of a nail-biter until you get that 4th item. It's just so crappy to come back for that one check. I see our tracker dropping some links in chat to give the runners a follow if you're enjoying the race. They're both very good, obviously, as we see Zentrigger using that cape to full advantage to clean up Blind and Barnage, making his way comfortably through Super Metroid. But also the missing command there for rank 1. A reminder that the runners aren't just playing for fun and e-glory here. They're playing for some cash prizes in this tournament as well that were staked to us. Prize pool supplied by our sponsor, Rank 1. Rank 1 Gaming is basically a social media network for gamers by gamers that you can kind of go and put in all your different gaming Twitch info and stuff and build a profile and make it very accessible, very easy for people to kind of see what you're into game-wise. And I think it's a really cool system. It's one that I'm looking forward to exploring a little bit more. And so big props to them, big thanks to them for giving us all a little extra edge to some of these matches. Having a little something on the line is always fun.
And we find another sword. So while that would not have added any progression or stopped the Aga play, but it would have made the Aga play a lot more convenient.
Yeah. Tempered Sword versus Master Sword, pretty big difference just in general. For Barnage, it is his 3rd sword. Nice wall jump there to get up to the Norfair Reserve. That is in logic due to the high jump boots. And so We have all these bubble mountain checks. These locations would not have been ways to break around Aga because they're behind that morph ball from Cave 45, which we see Zentrigger picking up right now. Has to be happy to see that.
But neither one of them is a useful item.
Yep, all garbage here in Bubble Mountain so far. I mean, I guess Gold Sword, but it's
Well,
questionable whether Gold Sword is even worth grabbing.
Okay, for Zentrigger, if that ends up being his Tempered Sword, he will be happy to see it.
Oh, absolutely. Barnage going for the Waver deboost. Unfortunately, missing a pretty narrow window. So when you're spin jumping, your turn animation is 0 frames. Whereas if you break spin, you have a much longer frame window for your turn animation to get that deboost. But you also, of course, risk turn K-going, so you can pre-turn. I guess it's easier with spin, because he wasn't trying to K-go, never mind. So he wants to stay spinned and then do the deboost. Just didn't quite get it. We're going to see Hype Cave of Trash again. And we'll see. Yeah, nothing so far.
Trash.
Yeah, we've got the wave beam check left, and then that's about it. And we'll know that the seed wanted him to do Aganim or Alpha Peebs.
There's really only 2 checks left that could have prevented the Aga from for sure being required.
Yeah, at least logically. There are some breaks we could have seen from the runners and things, but it's looking more and more like that Aganim play was the way to go.
Yeah, and I have to admit, it is certainly better if you can route all of Bubble Mountain with the Morph Ball because of those locations that are otherwise locked.
And Barnage just finding riches in tanks here. Reserve tank, a couple E-tanks.
Alright, so that, unless there's something at Alpha Power Bombs, this was indeed a Aga required seed.
Yeah, that wave beam location, I believe not even in logic anyway.
Yeah, so, I think the front, maybe?
Yeah, the front item is.
But the actual wave beam is not.
Because you can open the gate and then go back without going the whole way through the room. Zentrigger also making that front item of Swamp Palace play. Like I said, big fan of it. Not paying off, and we'll see where he goes from here. He's going to hard reset to the ship and show us a different part of Super Metroid. Barnage going for a gate glitch here to get into Croc's area. A little tricky. So 1 frame window to shoot that gate from the other side, and there he makes it look easy.
Yeah, and of course, since that gate glitch is not part of the logic, all of these checks down here at Croc will be out of logic. But it's nice to be able to route all of this in all at once instead of having to worry about coming back here.
Yeah, so this Crocomire play right now is out of logic, but it's worth it's worth knocking it out if you're going to full clear up or norfair anyway. It's leveraging the Varia suit and hoping that you find either Speed Booster or Wave Beam at some point, although Barnage having a heck of a time here getting the Croc's hitbox. It is kind of miserable. As Zentrigger does an infinite bomb jump up here to Criteria Power Bombs. Nicely done. Let's see if he finds anything here.
Infinite bomb jumps are one of the techniques that are in logic for Super Metroid.
Yeah, the Super Metroid logic for these tournament seeds is basically anything that the game shows you how to do. So either in the game or in the demo reel before the game starts. So it shows you things like special beam attacks, which have no logical implications, but infinite bomb jumps. Wall jumps are taught to you by the Edicoons. Things like that can be required by logic. Not always, the easiest things are not always the hardest things. There are some easier things than some of these tricks, disputably, that are not in the logic. But if the game shows you how to do it, you can be expected to do it, is kind of the philosophy for this. And Barnage also going for his own IBJ here, headed up to the Croc Power Bombs location.
And certainly, there's a lot of techniques that are much faster than the IBJ. It's one of the slower techniques.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to IBJ. Most of them, still fairly slow relative to like having just maxed out movement items. Of course, you're going to lose time. But with high jump boots, the runner's loadouts aren't that bad for Super Metroid. High jump boots saves a ton of time in a bunch of different rooms.
And looks like there's just hearts at the back gauntlets. Ooh, we find the boots. Now that is a good item to find. It makes
so
movement in Link to the Past much faster.
Yeah, saves, a minute or two per hour, basically, is kind of a heuristic for the boots. Most people think they matter a lot more than they really do. They do stop you from doing a bunch of really obnoxious wall pumping and stuff. Barnage power bombing and pretending like he has the speed booster, even though he doesn't, and setting up for another long infinite bomb jump here. And he's going to have to infinite bomb jump up to grapple beam unless he decides to go back and green gate glitch his way through. All this stuff that he finds down here, including the boots, is out of logic behind either the wave beam or the speed booster. So interestingly, if he finds other things behind the boots, that's going to be useful information for him.
Doesn't quite manage to see even what the item is.
He was real close, too. These morph checks here in back of Bryn Reserve, turning up nothing. We'll see. We got an E-Tank, which, zentrigger's going to take because his health is not real great, and who doesn't want an E-Tank, especially without Varia yet?
Yeah, and otherwise just the fire shield.
Yep, earns himself
and another E-Tank.
A super pack is, zentrigger nets yet another E-Tank. And Barnage clearly getting comfortable with this high jump morph into IBJ, doing a nice job there, getting that one first try.
Well, the boots, I would say, were probably worth this whole trip.
Yeah, it's going to be close with
of knowing that you don't have to come back here.
Yeah, full clearing this area, very, very good. It's going to be dicey whether the boots actually save time over the course of the run, but they're definitely going to make him feel better over the course of the run. Just not having to worry about things like GT Big Key on Torch or Desert being boots locked. They're going to allow him to take a little bit more liberty in what routes he decides to pursue, knowing that he'll be able to full clear certain things.
So where do you think we'll see Barnage head to next? I assume we'll see him check the ice beam and crumble shaft locations before he leaves Upper Norfair.
Yeah, I mean, those locations are, they're locked by the speed booster in this because Mach Ball's not in logic. And so we may see him skip those, but after having done Croc's Lair, it's cool that he doesn't care that much about the logic, so I would be surprised if we don't see him do that. But I think the play might be to transition back to Death Mountain, and zentrigger going for the Mission Impossible, unfortunately just barely missing it. Looked like he had a good shot at it. Did get the quick drop and did get the check into the item.
Yeah, and he now has red mail.
Yeah, it looks like the boots checks are on the menu. The King's Tomb one is particularly miserable because of the nature of the Dark World access that the runners have right now, but at least the Bonk Rocks one here is pretty free. And there's that speed booster to put that Croc play on those boots in logic here in Bryn Loop at Wavegate. Comically,
though the speed booster
Wavegate
itself is not in logic.
yeah, Wavegate now telling us that speed and boots are behind the wave beam. So watch for where that wave beam shows up or doesn't show up. And Barnage wants his plasma beam. I don't blame him.
Well, that is a good reason to have grabbed those boots and come back over. It'll make even just doing the cleanup in Brinstar faster. Zentrigger checking waterway, finding the game of Burna. So we have both of our Link to the Past invincibility items now. And making sure to turn on his plasma beam, but turning off the high jump boots. Some runners do find it easier to make these jumps without the high jump boots.
Yeah, the vertical pixel window to make these jumps doable without high jump boots is much, much greater than with high jump boots. They're fairly frame tight without, so I definitely understand turning high jump boots off for that. And Barnage is going to take a little bit of an acid bath here, but a lot of E-tanks, so it really doesn't matter all that much. And looks like we're going to see Zentrigger head for Kraid's lair. And, I like the play. It's a clean route out of Bryn Loop, and it gets a boss down, but it does strand the Blue Bryn locations. And he has a bunch of power bombs. So it might be that he's looking to cut some of those locations out, and that's not going to blow open both those blocks. So we're going to see Barnage have to bomb open just another wall here, but not too bad.
And it may feel like, since he already checked 2 of those locations, that there's just less value to those spots. But if there is something there, that is going to be something he's likely to come back to much later than Barnage will.
Yeah, if there is another item over there with the fire rod in retro, that's actually probably going to be bad for Zentrigger with how he's isolating. But, I could see him getting back to that as well. Right now, though, pretty much at parity for our runners. I can't imagine that Barnage with 25 power bombs doesn't end up finding or making the play over into retro on his way through and going sort of up through retro Bryn.
Yeah, particularly since he'll likely have found the speed booster and will be able to check climb supers and such.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very nice full clear in that area. And then at the same time, we're going to see Zentrigger go and knock out a lot of stuff that Barnage has done, except not have that Varia suit yet. And we haven't seen Bo show up to incentivize him to get over to Eastern, so that is the one big advantage that Barnage has right now. Of course, these hell runs that Zentrigger would have the option to do, not in logic, but it's something we may see him do anyway, because he has pretty good ammo, has 2 crystal flashes available and a bunch of tanks. So it's
he
not
will have
that
plenty
bad.
of health for making that. Unfortunately, there was not a whole lot at Bubble Mountain other than the sword.
Yeah, the biggest prize is really the speed booster at Crocomire.
Yeah, and he could actually make that play. Just head, if he went in through ice, just plow through that way. Not
Yeah,
even have to worry about the gate glitch.
yeah, I mean, with speed, it puts Croc in logic, so... I mean, once he has Varia. And so we'll see what, I forgot what Edikun's Power Bombs was. I don't think it was anything too big. We'll see what it was here soon on
About as
Barnage's stream.
as you could have gotten.
The good old single rupee. There it is. And we'll see, is zentrigger gonna go get his revenge on the Sova in here? Looks like it.
And with that charge beam in hand, that should make Barnage's fights quite... that charge plasma combo is very useful.
Oh yeah, that is an exceptionally powerful beam combination. The charged plasma beam alone deals 600 damage, twice as much as all the other beams combined, where charge ice wave spazer only would deal 300.
Yeah, and since we know there's a fairly good chance these runners are going to run across the wave beam, given that we know that the speed booster and boots are locked behind it. And that will also help the runners know that they don't really have to worry about picking up ammo.
Yeah, charge beam is nice because it will mitigate the amount of ammo pickups that the runners need to go out of the way for. Feels good to have skipped a lot of those missile packs that we saw the runners skipping in A Link to the Past, with the knowledge that charge beam, did show up. Nice short charge there from zentrigger. Looked like a clean stutter 3.
And looks like they are headed to the wreck ship.
Yeah, and I can get behind this play. Having speed booster, it's one of the most item-dense things left available. Nice horizontal shine spark here to get across the moat. This is, of course, in logic. And this will give us some new item locations. Although we're also, unless I'm sorely mistaken about how Barnage is going to choose to route this, going to be seeing new locations on both sides. Retro Bryn stuff, where Barnage will pick up his fire rod from the ceiling and feel kind of bad about it, probably. And then potentially some other good stuff against this wrecked ship play. We're about to get to the point where both runners are revealing some new information to us.
Yeah, I that would make sense for me in terms of routing, so we'll see.
I would be offended if Barnage chooses to not do Retro Brain here with 20 power bombs and having not dipped it earlier.
Yeah, and with the high jump, it's not like it's a problem to get up there. You know, he doesn't have to jump off the pipe or do anything difficult. You just jump.
Yeah, there's nothing nothing too exotic. The movement the runners have available is pretty good. Barnage is doing the tube missiles, and if he does not turn around and go left here, I'm gonna be dogging on him pretty hard. But he's doing the right thing.
Just rupees at the blueprint power bombs. next of the checks that we have not seen before.
We're gonna get some new knowledge here. This is gonna be good. And I see Woody in the chat is correcting me rightly. I was pretty sure on charge plasma being 600, but no, it is in fact 450. I even went and consulted the Super Metroid speedrunning wiki, a great resource for anyone who doesn't know a lot about Super Metroid speedrunning like me to figure out what's going on in their Super Metroid game. It is 450 for the charge plasma damage table.
Unfortunately, this jump up to Billy Mays can actually be more difficult with the high jump boots.
Yeah, this with high jump boots and speed booster is straight up miserable. It's absolutely the worst. And we see Barnage is going to turn off the high jump boots. Don't blame him one bit for this. And zentrigger is doing an okay job here with Fantoon. Cleans it up. Did take a bunch of damage. Just another bottle and missiles for Barnage. So the real prize so far has been that fire rod.
Yeah, have not found anything new and useful over here.
I wouldn't be too surprised to see Barnage route this over into Wreck Ship. He's double checking that he collected his fire rod. He can't menu and check, so it makes some sense.
Yeah, I think it would make sense for him to head over to Wreck Ship and then go down Red Tower, check those items on his way.
Yeah, it's reasonable to do Wreck Ship, but it's also very easy to get back to Wrecked Ship, just because you can always reset to the ship and just be right there.
Yeah,
so
I guess a lot will depend on whether he finds anything that would lead him back to Link to the Past.
Yeah, I mean, he has just Upper Red
Like
Tower,
that.
but yeah,
that would
that's
certainly lead you back.
Yeah, that's one of them things that is going to make me maybe think about not doing so much of the checking things in Wrecked Ship.
And I would agree with that. Finding the midst there, if you can go mode Wrecked Ship, that is certainly something you want to be able to do.
Yeah, and rather than go through the crappy deboost or the very tight like double charge or charge and then get echoes, Barnage is just gonna super missile out the Boyons in the way of the Climb Super's location and get his grapple beam. Very useful for leaving this area. zentrigger into Spiky Room of Death, taking it very, very easy. It's good because the little spike platforms here will deal 200 damage to him. Probably just kill him because they'll trigger his reserves. And I don't think he has more than 2 reserves, so they would double hit. And so, good on him making it through. We'll see what he finds here at Wrecked Ship E-Tank.
And the grapple beam would also put the X-ray location in logic.
Yeah, so we might see the down Red Tower play to Death Mountain, and zentrigger's just going to reset, not take that heart. Don't blame him at all. A Link to the Past loadout's pretty cozy at this point. And it takes a little bit of time to get back out of that spot.
Yeah, I do like to make that save, just because if you don't find anything there, it is a time save. And because we found bombs, we will see the Bomb Chorizo fight.
We'll see what sort of attic zentrigger goes for here. Okay, he's just going to go for an ammo one. He was suggesting that he was going to go for some sort of speed strat, like a spark or a speed keep attic from right side, but instead just sort of takes a little bit of an extra hit there and decides to go for a slightly slower but still fairly fast ammo kill. does give him a chance to get maybe a couple extra health drops or something. His health's not doing real great, so not too bad. And what do we have here? The spring ball in upper wrecked ship. That's a great find.
Yeah, it's not a progression item, but well, I guess it's without gravity, it's not a progression item.
It's the spaces in which it's a progression item in normal mode are very, very limited. It does make a lot of things easier, and it does enable some things that would be available in other race logics. But for this tournament, really, it's spring ball jump wrecked ship access is a thing. So we could see that show up, but like that's obviously not a thing in this seed.
Yeah.
Or if they didn't have bombs, it could be relevant, but the midair spring ball jumping is not something that's included in this logic.
Yeah, so for the purposes of this particular seed, we still haven't found anything in wrecked ship that would be progression.
Yeah, wrecked ship kind of a bust, but we might see Barnage head there. We'll see if he turns and goes down red tower, or if he goes into wrecked ship. I could see either play. Looks like he is choosing for wrecked ship, and is going to use grapple to cross the moat. And that'll also save him some time in the wrecked ship E-tank location. And zentrigger, you know, has enough health to pretty safely make it through this, but those spikes do hit for 60 a pop, so good to see him make it through, get over to bowling, not in too distressed of a state. Barnes having a little bit of trouble with his short charge here. This is a clean 2-tap. You can also do it with a 1-tap if you're really, really clean about it, I believe. And gets it cleanly and makes a spark across.
Yeah, that's a very quick way of getting across the ocean there.
Two items left to check here in wrecked ship. We'll see if either of them pans out for zentrigger. So far, that's just bombs. We got one more at the gravity location here, and if it's nothing, both our runners are going to feel pretty bad about this. We'll see if they make any gambles with this wrecked ship play in mind later, where they probably feel like they're losing some time, getting absolutely garbaged by wrecked ship.
Yeah, the only thing in there was spring ball, and that's not progression for this seed since they already have bombs.
Yeah, we've got bombs, we got high jump boots, we got speed booster. There's Spring ball's great. I know my man Sloters is in the chat and wouldn't hear anything else of it. Sloters also one of our competitors in this tournament and very, very good at Super Metroid. Classic lover of spring ball. It's good for Blue Bomber, but I don't think we'll see that.
And you know, if either runner decided to do something crazy and tried to, with having high jump boots, they could try to do suitless Meridia stuff, but I doubt either runner will try to do that because that's a very slow track.
You know, we see it pointed out in chat that wrecked ship is still out of logic. The spring ball was in wrecked ship, the grapple was behind speed, the speed was behind wave. We haven't seen wave beam. So, I mean, if the runners are keeping track of it, that's why I'm saying they're probably feeling pretty bad about this play. It was kind of a swing for the fences gamble on their down logic stuff and seeing how many more spheres they had to clear before finding wave beam. And they both gambled that wave was going to show up fairly soon. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're right about that gamble.
No, it's very likely that we're going to end up finding it probably somewhere behind those myths.
Yeah, the mitts are a big in-logic find, and that and Variasuit are the big advantages that Barnage has right now. The Fire Rod advantage and the Skullwoods Crystal, because there's not a good item in Skull, hasn't really manifested into anything for Zentrigger, and Barnage now has his Fire Rod. So Zentrigger's, a few minutes ahead from Wrecked Ship play, and he isn't going to be able to do X-Ray, so X-Ray is also kind of looming large in terms of what the runners, might have to do and where progression could be.
Yeah, though that is, of course, not in logic either.
Yeah, normal logic is sort of a train wreck in the sense that, like, it can get very, very convoluted if you find a couple things behind a break, and it's very, very easy to lose track of. Hard logic is much better in that regard, where because a lot more things are in logic, the item sequences tend to be a lot less convoluted, and so they hurt your head a little bit less. But the downside is that it can require some slightly less accessible tricks on the Super Metroid side to get to those logical spots. And Zentrigger also killing the Boyons, also going to spark up and also get his grapple beam. So something shows up behind grappling beam. That's a potential trap that Zentrigger and Barnage have both just dodged.
Yeah, and looks like we are going to see Zentrigger go down, so they will also get their mitts.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting situation. I think we're going to see Zentrigger continue to clear out all the things down here, all the Morphlock locations, just because it doesn't make sense to nope out from here. But we'll see what he does once he's through this, if he chases those mitts. Mitts, right now, with that Bombos medallion, open up Hammerless Ice Palace as a pendant, which seems bad. Open up not a whole heck of a lot else. I mean, Dark Death Mountain and Mitts Overworld checks make it easy to check that King's Tomb location. So there's a bunch of stuff, but there's not a bunch of stuff that I really feel like doing other than potentially Dark Death Mountain to get that scout on the Turtle Rock medallion.
And it looks like Barnage is going to just skip the entire attic and just hope that there's nothing that he needs to get there, and will be paid off because there is nothing there other than the spring ball.
Yeah, that is a very ballsy play, but it's a play I actually like because of Upper Wreck Ship and Wreck Ship on the whole not being in logic for the runners, and I imagine he's thinking about that. I'm going to give him credit for that one, and thinking, okay, well, I haven't found Wave Beam yet, and maybe I want to stay away from this Upper Wreck Ship and just knock out the boss. And yeah, chat is on it. Has been on it. Our tracker Razor Flame Kun, making sure that we are all aware. We're about to find out about whether that Aghanim play was required. If it's hammer or gravity suit that leads to wave beam here at Alpha Power Bombs, we could have dodged Aghanim. Otherwise, we were pretty much stuck.
Screw attack would be the other item that would have gotten us to those mitts.
Oh yeah, screw attack as well. Good call. But it was not, so yeah, we can now say it was an egg required seed, and there's the hammer. That's kind of hilarious.
Alright, so this was a definite Aga seed.
It was an Aga seed where if you did all the crappy things before doing Aga, you ended up with even crappier item locations. So both these runners getting a lot less bodied than I would have by this seed. Probably feeling pretty good about that hammer there for Barnage. And nice Hellway deboost. And we see Zentrigger is heading down through Retro. We'll see where he heads. I think we're probably going to see him go over toward Red Tower to clear out some of that stuff, but we'll see what he chooses to do.
Well, hopefully he does, since he needs to get that hammer.
Yeah, I mean, that is the hope. Hammer, mitts. You know, that hammer really makes me want to get back over to A Link to the Past. I'm kind of excited about that hammer.
Yeah, with that hammer and the mitts, that will put quite a lot of the dungeons now at least accessible.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we saw Barnish do Criteria Power Bombs and Gauntlet, and just had them be nothing. So I think that we have seen sort of all of the pre-Meridius stuff from him. So he's out of logical stuff to do in the Super Metroid side.
We still haven't seen Ice Beam or Crumbled Tower.
Yes, in logic stuff. Sorry.
Right. Oh, well, I guess that isn't in logic yet either without waves, but yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know what's at Ice Beam and Crumble Tower, but right now we've full cleared what we logically can.
Yes.
Yeah, about 95, 100 minutes in. It's a good time, and I'm sure this is kind of what our runners are doing. It's a good time to check in and kind of see what you're still looking for. They'd like to find Gravity Suit, I imagine. That would make things convenient and simplify the other Super Metroid stuff that they need to find.
Yeah, we need to find...
Would like to find, I guess, need Kane unless they really feel like covering Turtle Rock. I don't put that in range for anybody.
Logically, we would still need to find either the space jump or the flute to access lower norfair.
And of course the good old wave beam. Everything's behind wave beam. I'm not even gonna try and keep track of it. Oh, zentrigger getting through that reforming block just in time. He's gonna go get his hammer. And now we're getting the Ice Beam and Crumble Tower checks here out of Barnage.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to just get those done real quickly before you head back into Link to the Past, that where you know you don't have to come back and do it later.
Yeah, and here's going to be that hammer payoff. And I'm interested to see what zentrigger does from here, because Barnage, because that Varia suit is ahead all of those Varia locked checks. And zentrigger doesn't really have them in logic, or just doesn't have them in logic, so both runners are kind of drying up in terms of what they can do.
Yeah,
Barnage has the back of Skullwoods left that zentrigger has already done.
But zentrigger is going up.
All right, let's see that Dark Death Mountain.
Other checks up here, I assume that must mean he's headed back to the Criteria portal.
Yeah, and that's the fastest thing, because he obviously is going to keep that hammer, so can't just soft reset. So this is the closest portal for him. Both runners have kind of exhausted Super Metroid options and want to get back over, and zentrigger might be thinking about some hell runs or something, grabbing that ship refill. Can't really think of too many other reasons to take the time and do that ship refill, because don't really need the ammo and don't really need the health unless you're thinking about health management for heated rooms or something.
And maybe just wants to have it as available as an option.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the call. I think it opens up, it doesn't close options to him, so I think that it's probably worth the time. I wasn't sure. I thought we might see the pivot and flip immediately to ice as like a big swing play.
Oh, it's Bombos. So we actually do have that medallion already.
Yeah, if Kane's in here, That's looking pretty attractive. That's a bug net, not a cane.
Red mail, gold sword. Yeah, that's not gonna make your bosses very difficult.
Yeah, it's with mirror and boots and mitts and hammer. Routing A Link to the Past could only be simplified by the flute, and the flute's mostly worthless. So I'm feeling like we're gonna see a lot of A Link to the Past right about now.
Yeah, and looks like Zentrigger may be going straight into Swamp.
Yeah, and I like that play. It is the other 5/6 crystal. It's going to route cleanly into Pyramid Fairy for him, and so that's really an 8-item play. And so that's pretty good. Barnage, meanwhile, checking off Spike Cave, not finding anything, just a shield. Not even relevant for laser bridge access because we already do have the safety items. So just a worthless check, but it's one of those ones that you could leave till last and end up really getting punished by, so it was good to do it while he was there.
Yeah, you do. I often seem to find stuff there at Spike Cave.
I mean, all these inconvenient one-offs, we see him getting right back to King's Tomb as well, just being very thorough. Aside from Upper Wrecked Ship, but again, not in logic. But yeah, just the idea that being thorough in SMZ3 generally is to your benefit. That's something we see pretty strongly from both players. In fact, I think if there's an item on left side swamp, we're probably going to see Zentrigger go for it. Probably not skip even one item here.
Yeah, because you don't want the one gamble you take to be the one that costs you the race.
Yeah, you need to be pretty deep in the logic and be like go mode -1, maybe go mode -2 before you start to look at that, which to be fair, we're not that far removed from, and there's that Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, so we now know that Turtle Rock is completable.
Yeah, I would be surprised if we don't see Zentrigger end up over at Turtle Rock sooner than later. Knowing that you have everything, if you have the medallion, plus you can get the scout, you get a crystal, you get all of Dark Death Mountain. I think we'll probably see Pyramid Fairy into the mirror or forget to mirror, save and quit, to get to Old Man and get up to Dark Death Mountain out of Zentrigger over about the next 8 minutes.
Yeah, and that's likely why he went into Swamp Palace right away.
We do see Barnage going through and cleaning up his Fire Rod locked stuff. Is gonna do quite the dance here in that switch rune just to pick up a little bit extra magic. And is doing a little bit of a dance here also with the Gibdos. Red Mail and Gold Sword actually helping out for once. He's gonna have to go relight that torch though.
But we'll have a much easier Mothula fight than Zentrigger did with Red Mail and Gold Sword.
Gold Sword actually does damage to Moth, comically enough. And he's going to leave the key on the ground. Half magic on left side swamp, and one more check here for Zentrigger. Just a map, but...
Half magic is a nice safety to have, though with the equipment they already had, it is not necessarily all that useful.
Yeah, half magic's nice in the sense that it's going to save him from going back to the witch's hut to grab another potion if he feels like he doesn't want to, you know, have to worry about magic. So it's definitely not unwelcome. It's not what he wanted out of left side swamp, but, you know, it's not one that I feel too bad about finding. Yeah, Barnage knows he's getting his last item right here. We know it's garbage, but we'll see. We'll see what Barnage does after this. I think we're probably going to see him head for Swamp as well, and then feel sad about Turtle Rock and Kana Samaria, but I'd be kind of surprised if we don't see the Swamp play coming up.
Yeah, so the main item that we would be looking for on the Link to the Past side is that bow. And then the gravity suit for Super Metroid.
And it looks like he's going to do the hammer and mitts checks on his way down to Swamp. Don't hate the play. With Mirror, it's not so bad. I am a little surprised to be prioritizing Overworld here against a very completable and cozy crystal, but it's it's not indefensible. It's just that the routing here is somewhat modular, just because of the level of movement items that we have.
And I guess the idea is that you can finish up dropping off the lunchbox and go straight into Swamp from there.
Yeah, you can still get kind of stuck by Book of Medora later. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a choice of which of these two things do you want to do. I like the thing that gets me a crystal, and maybe potentially loses about 10 seconds later. We'll see if anything but Kane shows up here in Swamp. We are getting close to the end here. There is the X-ray scope,
which will allow Barnage to do microwave strats on Mothula and Dragon.
Yep. Shout out to Slim the Bard being about 45 minutes early on that one in chat, and I was razzing him a bit for it. So now I do need to say that now we're talking about that microwave beam, because there it is.
There you go. There's
or at least Barnage has access
Dora,
to it.
Which actually will work out quite well. Barnage can even route in the Bombos tablet on the way.
Yeah, that's one of the places that you don't mind finding that. You're kind of already committed to a route that puts the Bombos tablet in line for you, and so it doesn't feel as bad as it otherwise would. He is going to leave behind the chest. We'll see if he decides to mirror and take that chest to the locksmith there outside of Desert, just by mirroring at the right spot. It's a little bit of tech to let him use those boots and leave that chest behind, but still get the prize.
It's quite a nice trick. It saves you time just being able to use the boots to make your way over here more quickly.
Yep, and he mirrors above a sufficient Y pixel and gets his chest turn in. What a cheaty guy.
And looks like he is going to check that Bombos tablet.
Yeah, and this would be a big mistake to miss this check, since he was already kind of on this route. And just 5 bomb capacity, but it's so easy to just check this one off.
And zentrigger is going to be heading up to the bomb shop to get the big bomb.
Yeah, we'll see if the Pyramid Fairy is going to be anything, but that scout we didn't have on Desert Ledge a while ago, nothing we were really looking for. But Barnage is going to go right into Desert Palace over Swamp, and this is a good heads-up divergence.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of runners like to hold off and do it when they go into lower norfair, just to make it route those in together. But, it is in logic with the book. There may very well be something here.
Yeah, what's the Pyramid Fairy got today? Okay. Could be important, could be nothing. The Quake Medallion's kind of interesting there.
Yeah, if something is inside of Meyer, and Meyer happens to be the Quake Medallion.
Yeah, we want it to be dead, right? We don't want the green pendant mystery to be revealed to us.
But I think at this point, the only thing that could be in there would be the bow and the gravity suit.
Yeah, those are both pretty big items. Crystal Eastern Pod means that the bow is a hard requirement this seed, in addition to being a logical requirement. And gravity suit, I mean, we have grapple, we have X-ray, we have spring ball, we have all the tools we need to do the skip, but it's not particularly exciting, and I don't know if either of these runners really considers that a viable option. It's definitely not at the top of most people's list to skip gravity there, although having the Dark World backdoor access makes it substantially more attractive than it would have been otherwise. And so we'll see Barnage knock out his crystal here as zentrigger is finishing up his Dark Death Mountain play. I think we're going to see him go into Turtle Rock, though, which I'm excited about. I think that there's probably something there.
And hadn't quite mentioned this yet, but since the Desert Torch was required for this seed, that means the Wave Beam is required for logic.
Yeah, we had that map in the top center chest in Desert, so Wave Beam somewhere is going to be a key to unlocking a lot of the information on what's going on downstream of it in this seed. Yeah, so Speed Booster is at Wave Gate, and so Wave and Speed are our only way into Croc, and so Boots were in Croc's lair at the Cosinus location. So that was the prize in Croc's lair, those boots. So anything that shows up behind Boots, we're looking for Wave Beam, trying to figure out what's going on there. And I think this is going to be the swamp play from Barnage here. Man, he doubled down, and he got it the second try on that little cactus dash there. Not the cactus dash, but still a good one. I don't know if Barnage runs NMG, so I don't know if the cactus dash memes are strong with him. I think he mostly does Link to the Past randomizers in SMZ3.
And zentrigger, since he had the cane, did decide to dip into Turtle Rock.
Not even a dip. This is a completable crystal. Like this is exactly what you want to be doing if you're zentrigger. This feels real good. Got red mail, got master sword, got half magic. You're feeling pretty cozy about this Turtle Rock play.
Yeah, and it does seem like there has to be something in here.
Yeah, I think we are down to that point where Barnage has cleaned up a lot of the random stuff.
Unless it's in
here
pod.
Or Ice Palace.
Well,
yeah, or Front of Pod. We got Ice Palace, we got Front of Pod, we got Turtle Rock. Really is our three options. Razor Flame coming in with the technicality, or in Mimic Cave. Okay, yeah, Mimic Cave's not part of Turtle Rock. You got me.
Yeah,
but really it is.
Usually you don't get there unless you're going through Turtle Rock, so.
No, I appreciate the pedantry though.
And could be on Ether tablet as well.
That's an actual location that is outside of those things that it could be.
And Barnage gets their cane.
And no left side out of the gate for Barnage, so I think we'll probably see him come back in for his half magic. But it depends how he's feeling. He is setting up. We saw him pre-race, practicing the new diver down tech here. Not even going to use cane, just going to go for the bomb setup here. He was messaging me the other day, telling me how free this was, and then I didn't bother to learn it. So we'll see him show off that new tech. Boom! There it is, first try. It does look really free, I'll be honest. I still haven't bothered to learn it, but it looks real free.
Yeah, I would like to learn that one, because it does look like, and it saves you a lot of hassle.
Yeah, I see a lot of hubbub about pedestal happening. And we don't know what the Meyer medallion is yet. And we also don't have Meyer in logic because of the flute locate, or wherever the flute shows up. Or, I mean, gravity could show up, but then, of course, gravity couldn't be on pedestal, and it would have to be just
this. And we would still need the space jump as well as the gravity.
That too, yeah. It would be gravity plus space jump or flute to get us in there. And there it is in bow. The bow in Turtle Rock at the big chest. That is not surprising. Not one bit.
All right, so logically, we still need the wave. We still need gravity, and we need either the flute or space jump.
Yeah, and with that being the bow that showed up rather than gravity suit, and it's both.
There's gravity suit.
So that I was about to say that kind of cancels Barnage's advantage, but that actually kind of sets Barnage's advantage right back in motion, because he's going to get up here to Turtle Rock and he's going to hit go mode because he already has his Varia. And Zentrigger's probably not going to find those boots.
Yeah, because while the space jump or flute would be required logically, I'm sure both of these runners are capable of doing a gravity jump to get through the lava dive.
Yeah, it's really about just finding the locations, and so, that's quote unquote no mode for us as commentators and viewers. And it will be go mode for Barnage when he gets there, 100%. There's nothing else that he could possibly need because Meyer is a pendant. And so it depends how Zentrigger routes this. I was going to say that bow there gives Zentrigger a pretty substantial lead because that's going to lead him right to Varia, and he's a couple minutes ahead. But now, because that bow leads directly to gravity, I'd say that this is Barnage's game to lose, provided that he turns around from Swamp here and does the Turtle Rock play that just seems to make the most sense.
Yeah, and I do think that is what should be done in this situation.
Yeah, and Zentrigger getting the Ether Medallion now has the Meyer wild card. We know that Zentrigger's go mode is hanging out in Eastern Palace in a very early sphere, And that is the sort of thing that can be a real disaster as a player in this game. And looks like Barnage is going to make the 5-6 crystal play. Makes a lot of sense to knock this one out. Ruins that perfect 1,000 rupees, though. Shame. And oh yeah, Relkin points out boots were required for desert, so he has Varia into Croc's lair left, which the Varia he's gonna find, the Croc's lair is straight garbage. So this is provided that Barnage doesn't inexplicably avoid Turtle Rock. This is a big advantage for Barnage that both his Go Mode -2 show up in sequence.
And I would think that the play for Barnage would be to just go check the Ether tablet and then go to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that's... Oh gosh, and zentrigger taking a Trinex death, getting hit by Trinex in 2020, but did take the portal save here, so good on him. I didn't see what sort of health he went into the fight with, but it's not something you expect to happen. It's possible he got a little distracted or something. Yeah, it looks like Barnage is headed directly for his Go Mode. Nope, he's gonna go do the Ether Tablet play, so good read. I like the play. I think that this is the better play. Although, it's also defensible to do Ether after Turtle Rock, and I kind of like that more.
I mean, we know now that would be the better play, but it certainly is okay, this way I make sure nothing got orphaned.
Yeah, it's just that you have a crystal dungeon, and it's pretty easy to sequence this after the crystal dungeon. And Go Mode -2, like, you're pretty close, but, like, I do get this. I definitely understand where this play comes from. You don't expect to hit Go Mode -2 both in Turtle Rock. You expect Turtle Rock to always have one garbage item and then to send you on a hunt for the other garbage item.
Right. Yeah, in this case, it's the only hunt is for items that you don't actually need.
Yeah, so here we're going to see a pretty early Go Mode for Barnage, and we're going to see him put up a pretty good time on this seed with, honestly, a sweet loadout if the squirrel leaves him alone. And we'll see how this goes for zentrigger. It's very up in the air how it's going to go for him.
I would imagine zentrigger's probably going to head over and do pod and Eastern.
Yeah, my expectation is Ether tab into save and quit to Link's house, go take the swamp portal, head over, do pod, mirror Eastern, get Varia, go do lower norfair into upper norfair, clean up, finally find boots. Or the real risk is assume boots don't matter and go dig out desert.
I don't think zentrigger doesn't have the book yet.
Oh yeah,
so they're going to. The book was at. Was it?
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Not required, just logically required.
Well, he'll be able to just go into desert through the Meyer area, so not a big deal.
Yeah, it makes the desert check really, really inconvenient. So, like, normally you could prioritize going over to desert and just being like, okay, do I need boots, or should I be go moding or searching for boots? And he doesn't have that option because of the Smith sequence. And Smith sequence is not going to be high on his list.
Yeah, and Barnage won't even have to touch GT because the only thing he logically needs access to now is lower norfairs, and that can't be there in GT.
Yeah, precisely. He doesn't even need logical lower norfair access because he has pretty cozy lava jump or lava dive access. But yeah, we're never going to figure out where that wave beam or the
but I just meant that there's not going to be anything at Gold Chorizo that's going to be important at all to even be worth checking.
Yeah. Yeah, what's the best thing it could be? Like screw
Ice
attack, space jump, assuming that the flute is out there somewhere, or yeah, Ice Beam. We've got silvers, we got gold sword, we got red mail, we got charge, plasma. God knows where wave beam is. I've lost track of the item sequence. I'm pretty sure everything is behind wave beam. Wave beam is like in Pendant Ice Palace or something.
I assume, or in pod, possibly.
That makes a lot of sense. Wave beam and pod is something I'm buying. And
Zentrigger gets their tempered sword.
Getting his tempered, getting Sash out of the way. It doesn't feel too bad about the 2-hour, 5-minute Sash play, because it wasn't amazing, but would have liked that sword earlier, especially things like that Moth fight, that Trinex fight that didn't go so hot.
Yeah, might have been able to avoid some of those deaths just by having a little more offensive firepower.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he did a good job on cleaning the fights up on the second go round, and really, you know, was very, very close to completing them on the first try. We are going to probably see Barnage do the Mimic Cave here. It's kind of funny. Turns out to be completely unnecessary, but the Go mode is like the next 2 chests. So yeah, we see him priming that mirror, and he's not Go mode -1, so he's not going to split the big chest first.
It does look like Zentrigger is going to do Eastern first, so we'll find that Varia suit and know that they are in Go mode.
Yeah, but those boots, like with Crystal Desert, that looms so large.
That's true.
And with that being a Sphere 0 or a Sphere 1 check, man, this is... If I'm Zentrigger, I'm thinking, oh god, that is a bad spot to find Varia. What do I do now? And how do I posture with considerations of boots? And do I just gamble it? And I don't know what I do with pod if I'm Zentrigger, honestly. I think it's a very tough call.
Alright, in 2 hours, 6 minutes into the seed, Barnage has hit practical Go mode.
Yeah. That's as Go mode of a Go mode as he's looking for. Back-to-back bow into gravity has to feel amazing. But yeah. Where's the wave beam? Where's it at? Where's Space Jump? Where's Flute? We don't know. We're probably not going to find out. All he's got to do is finish Turtle Rock, go do the quick pod into Eastern play. And Eastern, he's already got the big key.
Yeah, the only way we are going to see those items is if Zentrigger does decide to hunt for the boots in Link to the Past.
Yep. It's on Zentrigger to find the wave beam for us, or we're going to be eternally puzzled. Nice cane dash there. But yeah, it's a Turtle Rock into Pod Eastern, into... Gosh, how nice is this? Pod Eastern back to Pod via Mirror Portal, down to Backdoor Dragon, into, like, Lava Dive to Ridley off of a Death Mountain save and quit. This is like a low 2-4x seed right now because of how beautiful that Go mode gravity is.
Yeah, and if you happen to find the flute along the way, you can just cut out the lava dive.
With Speed Booster, I don't think you bother to activate the flute, but I mean, I could see someone choosing to do that if they wanted. Yeah, this is gonna shape up to be a really good time for Barnage. After finding that cane, he probably was feeling a little down about where it was, but you know, doubling up go mode -2 into go mode in 2 checks always feels amazing. What's Barnage doing? Okay, he's saving quitting. I don't know what he was trying to do there. Looked like some sort of clip shenanigans or something. But obviously, maybe just mirrored in the wrong spot or something. Yeah, I didn't even catch where the pod big key was, so if we've seen it.
I don't think.
Oh, zentrigger. Okay, zentrigger's just going back into Eastern. We haven't seen pod yet.
Yeah.
We just saw it get opened.
Nope. Zentrigger accidentally going straight up the center rather than going to the left side first.
Yeah, a little bit of pod Eastern confusion. Very easy to run into. Especially when you're thinking, like, what do I do about these boots? And do I gamble desert off of a lava dive? Like, that's a very easy way to distract yourself from executing on simple things like pod Eastern differentiation. So, not going to blame zentrigger on that one. And pod not immediately bow locked, so feels pretty good. If you're Barnage to have not come in here and then, you know, dodged coming in here without the bow.
Yeah, because otherwise you could have wasted a lot of time here and then still had to come back later.
Exactly. Anytime you find out that the layout was really crappy and you could have done a dive that you didn't need to do, you're feeling pretty good unless you did that dive.
And looks like Barnage is thoroughly checking the front just in hopes they can find the big key out here.
Yeah, you do the efficient full clear routing in pod until you find your big key and small key, and then you just go to the boss. The unfortunate part is that, like, it doesn't let you swing for the fences and go for right side. And we haven't seen the big key yet, so Barnage may end up not saving much time over the full clear pod here. Which, if there's a good item here, could work out for him and against zentrigger, but if it's all trash and the big key's just in a crappy location, zentrigger's going to end up getting away with something that's basically time neutral minus dash time saves.
So it looks like the big key may be on the right side anyway.
Yeah, that was an interesting route there by zentrigger, and Barnage does get his small key and big key, and isn't even going to check the other chest. Oh, no, he is. He knows it has to be a small key. I don't know why he wants the small key, because he got missiles and big key in the front. But, you know, maybe just being sure. Seems a little silly to grab an extra small key, but probably just thinking about go mode. So, pod Eastern, you got your Varia suit. How do you want to route this if you're zentrigger? What are you doing next? Do you go into upper norfair, or do you just go dive to lower norfair and see see what you can get around desert, or do you worry about the boots being in upper norfair and desert?
You know, my thought would be you'd head straight to... Ooh, that is a good question. Because the instinct would be to just do the gamble and go straight to lower norfair, but we know that's would not work out well at all.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that you go straight to lower norfair here. We'll see what zentrigger chooses to do. It obviously works out if you do the upper norfair play. I don't think it makes a difference in this race. I think Barnage still has a pretty solid lead at this point, just because of the difference between full clearing and go moding all this stuff.
I guess that the best thing that zentrigger could do would be to go in to norfair, go to ice beam, go down, check croc, go to lower norfair, skipping bubble mountain for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the absolute best route available. In terms of routes that make any sense at all. Like, obviously going straight to croc, going to cosine, grabbing boots, and then beelining would be, you know, the nut route. But, like, that makes zero sense, right?
Right.
Like, nobody is ever doing that.
So, I mean, that's a possible route you could take of, you know, just checking all the checks that are somewhat along your way to lower norfair, but whether he would actually make that choice.
Yeah, the ice to lower route into lower norfair is more attractive if you have space jump for some room strats. But overall, it plays well with sort of a basic NMG sensibility or any percent sensibility for old route for Super Metroid. And I don't actually hate the play. I think it's actually a very reasonable route if you want to kind of like hedge on half gambling it. The croc play is very, very iffy because we still, you know, we haven't found wave beam because speed's behind wave.
That is the issue.
It's possible that you lose track of that in the you know, in the flow of a seed. But I don't know. I'm not a believer in routing into croc here. I do believe ice to crumble tower straight to lower norfair.
Yeah, and I imagine that is what we will see from zentrigger.
Yeah, this looks like the old save to quit to Death Mountain upper norfair portal, and we'll see. It might just be Frog Speedway, though. Yeah, right now it's tough to assess the size of Barnage's lead, just because we don't know when zentrigger is going to line up with the important check that he needs to make.
Yeah, and it does look like he is going straight to Frog Speedway.
Yeah, so that play Barnage made to do Crocomire in a situation where it looked like kind of a crappy decision to make is ultimately going to be one of the big things that swings this race in his favor. Because he's already got Desert done, he's got Go mode, and he just has to go and, you know, finish, well, I guess Ganon's tower first.
It looks like he is just going to finish Link to the Past first and then just Go mode Super Metroid.
Yeah, which is a very reasonable play. His loadout for Super Metroid could improve in the sense that he could potentially find Screw Attack, which would make lower norfair a little bit faster. Whereas his loadout for A Link to the Past isn't going to change by a whole heck of a lot, so Ice Beam and Ganon's Tower is also a thing.
I mean, the only other things you could find would be Powder, which isn't required but can be nice if you take a lot of damage, or more hearts, which are totally unnecessary.
Yeah, and Barnage, as, you know, if there's a primary game for him and A Link to the Past main, I definitely think that it makes sense in his situation to make this play and go and finish up A Link to the Past and look for sort of any luxuries you can get out of Ganon's Tower.
And we see the very nice gravity jump there from zentrigger.
And Barnage did get all 7 of his crystals, so we'll find out where that big key is as zentrigger is going to reveal more interesting information, which is what's in Lower Norfair. Where is the wave beam?
Yeah, well, I don't... Well, no. Well, wave beam could actually be down here.
Oh my.
Boots did not actually lock anything. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well...
So Desert's boots locked anyway, so it's completely irrelevant, but that's kind of hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know if we told anyone to put their guesses in chat, but if you guessed 3 anyway...
And we see a gate glitch here, so this play from zentrigger is, of course, behind that space jump, but he doesn't care. This is an interesting one. So there are a lot of things that this Lower Norfair can't be unless other items are in certain spots, and Pop wasn't anything. So I'm looking at you, Pendant Ice Palace. Like, what are you doing, Pendant Ice Palace, being so bad? Wave Beam has to be there. Or Flute.
Well, I mean, Wave Beam was blocking Speed Booster. Speed Booster was only blocking the boots, which is only blocking the desert, which didn't have anything, and Ganon's Tower Big Key. So we could still see the Wave Beam down here, down in the Mire area or Lower Norfair. We just would have to find Flute or...
Yeah, Flute, Space Jump, or Wave Beam has to be.
Yeah, in ice.
Nice. Let's see, we saw zentrigger head right for Desert to check out what was going on, kind of get the bad news there. Knows that it's full clear time, unfortunately. And I think we're going to see him take a pretty clean full clear route through Lower Norfair into Upper Norfair, and potentially end up at Croc. But we'll see. We'll see if that happens or not.
Yeah. I mean, you may go through Lower Norfair, check Bubble Mountain, and then go straight into Croc. Well, there finds the space jump. So we know space. So it has to be Flute.
Yeah, Flute is our access to this area. Yeah, because Space Jump is behind Lower Norfair, so Flute has to be out there, and then Wave Beam can now be in Lower Norfair. Which would just be a trash item sequence by the logic, but that's what SMZ3 does.
Yes, that is. And that is why knowing some of these out-of-logic tricks is very useful. So you can avoid the intended logic.
Yeah, the intended logic in this 300 location game with a bunch of items and dependencies is like always garbage. This is the biggest, dumbest troll game, I swear. I don't know why anyone plays it, but here we are. I just, you know, I just do it. I'm not even sure why. But it is cool how all the items kind of line up. And so that space jump was... That's gotta be a jarring place to find space jump. And it doesn't make you think any more Croc, but if Wave is in Lower Norfair... The nice thing is it opens up Wave in Lower Norfair, which could route zentrigger right into Crocomire, so in that regard it's a good space jump location. It's just bad if you are trying to actually keep track of everything.
Yeah. I guess one question I would have is, if you were zentrigger at this point when you're going to find the boots as your go mode item, would you go to lumberjack to get the plasma beam?
You've got charge wave, spazer. Plasma is with 9550 ammo, and 30 power bombs, no ice beam. You're not really gaining that much from it. You've already got your bosses dead. You don't have X-ray. I'm probably not going to lumberjack, but different people prioritize plasma differently. And Barnes is dropping into his Ganon fight. It's going to be the coziest Ganon fight possible. 14 hearts, red mail, gold sword, bonus hits by walking into Ganon, silver arrows, half magic. It's cape. Like, it's literally everything you could possibly want for a Ganon fight.
Yeah, this is a nice, easy-going, relaxing Ganon fight.
And no wave beam yet in lower norfair, so going for speed strats here. Nice speed kill here on the Metal Pirates. Oh, unfortunately messing up that second one. I didn't like the spot there, but cleans it up with the super. And yes, we did find silver arrows. And Barnage, knowing what he's doing, is going to set up for the free triple here. And nicely done. Good cleaning up that Ganon fight.
And get your G's in chat for Barnage.
And zentrigger, plenty of ammo, about to head on into his Ridley fight. He's gonna, you know, farm up maybe a little bit more ammo. Can always be good to have a little bit extra. 32 coming in if he decides that maybe he wants the green gate glitch on the way out. Ridley gives him bad super drops. There's reasons to do this. Barnage is, going to use this portal to get to the
Backdoor Meridia?
The Backdoor Meridia, yeah. I don't know that that's faster from Pyramid. Is it faster than going over the Podway? I guess it is.
I haven't really calculated that to know.
That's a nice little route. As zentrigger having a pretty nice Ridley here, dipping into the acid a little bit, getting grabbed, but shouldn't have said anything. I think Ridley needs a couple more hits. I think he's got like 400 health left. Laser door. The run is blessed. Even on emulator, laser door. That's how you know it's emulating properly.
Yeah. Barnage remembering to turn the high jump boots back on.
Alright, so zentrigger, what you gonna do? Left turret there in Dragon's room, kind of being a jerk there, firing off two right away. But Barnes is going to set up for his microwave, his X-ray buffer charge plasma kill here on Dragon. So he's kneeling because when Dragon health reaches 0, she forces you into a force stand, and so when Samus stands up, we know she's dead. There's also sprite animation reasons, like her body gets dents in it and her eyes roll back a little, but easiest is that forced stand. Nice one-round kill. And Zentrigger needs to be a little careful with his health here. Those key hunters are no joke. Even with Varia and Gravity, they still do hit you for 50. I'm kind of surprised, 9 against 3, that we haven't seen the wave beam show up here in Lower Norfair. I think it's 9 checks. Oh, he's going back. What you doing, Zentrigger? Oh no, he's not. He's going back. I guess
accidentally went through the door.
Yeah, that must have been. I was like, are we going back to Meyer? Because there's not a lot to do. That's a bad item to find. That's crappy.
That is not an item you will spend the time to get at this point.
It's an item he has to spend the time to get. Boots could be on the bat.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like, you're priced into going and getting this, and it just sucks. That E-Tank's kind of nice, though.
Yeah, it's a nice refill.
And getting a nice gap skip there into the Spring Ball maze.
Thankfully, he does have Spring Ball to do that.
Yeah, meanwhile, Barnage is going to go and get his Go Mode Lower Norfair, and then it's that and Torian, and he's going... Why are you going this way, Barnage? You don't want the Nutella refill. What is this route? I don't understand this route from Barnage. I really don't. Blue Boom, they're leaving that one. Maybe he just wants to show off his grapple beam.
So there really was nothing in Lower Norfair either.
Yeah, so it has to be Ice Palace. Yeah, Flute. I don't think there's anything else. Or no,
could there be something in Meridia?
Could we have gotten to Gravity Suit? Let's see.
Well, Gravity, yes, because that was at Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and Mitz, Kane, Fire Rod were all accessible. Yeah, it could be Meridia, actually. It could be Ice Palace or Meridia. Man, I hope we don't see Meridia today. We're probably going to see Meridia. Unless we see Croc right
will
away.
Go to Meridia before doing Croc?
If he's tracking the logic and knows that everything at Croc is behind Wave, because like Speed Booster there is so conspicuous, I can see bailing
and just going to Meridia is getting to a boss.
Exactly, you've got Dragon there. You know, you have to go in some capacity. Man, this is turning out crappy. Crappy for Zentrigger, unfortunately. Just it's this out of logic Croc play that Barnage made that just is paid off really big.
Yeah, it really gave him an early go mode.
Yeah, what the logic wanted in this seed was just absolute trash.
I mean, if we were still in logic, we would not have Speed Booster. Zentrigger would not have Space Jump.
Yeah, so there's, you know, all the Lower Norfair stuff, so Space Jump included, not gonna do anything for leading us to our Wave Beam or Flute. Barnage, meanwhile, taking a bit of an acid bath. I'm not sure what the jumping to the right side of that pirate was, other than to just, like, dab on him a little bit. Yeah, we do see zentrigger doing these upper norfair checks behind Varia. These are such an early sphere. Man, I mean, like, you make this play, but it feels like crap. It looks like he might be gearing up to go to Crocomire, though.
Yeah. Oh, nope. Looks like he is headed... Well, who knows? Probably will check Ice Beam and Crumble Shaft, and if he goes back down to Croc, he's in good shape. If he then goes up to Meridia, not so much.
I mean, I think the technically right play here, because speed gates this out as well, is to just go straight to Meridia. Like, if you think that it's in the next sphere, basically, you don't check Ice, you don't check Crumble Tower, you don't check Croc, and you just play down logic, but you're 234 and not in go mode, and so, like, it's kinda panic time.
Yeah, that can't feel very good, particularly when you knew you wasted the time to go to desert without the boots.
Yeah, so if Wave is at Ice, then our Flute could be in Turtle Rock.
And zentrigger is not continuing up. And is going back.
Yeah, this is... I mean, making that play for Ice is, you know, reasonable. Like I said, you could do that into lower norfair as well. Croc is a big reach, so he knows where speed was. He knows it's behind Wave. He hasn't seen Wave Beam. I like the call from zentrigger. Ultimately, we know it's just going to make it look worse on the score sheet, but, you know, it's not a game-winning play to break to Croc there.
No, it was a gamble that Barnage made that worked out quite well.
Yeah, Barnage not even looking behind Ridley. Really, the only thing he could find here is Space Jump or Ice Beam to make Torian faster. I kind of believe in the check for Ice Beam alone, but definitely don't blame him for being like, 236. No, you know, no dot done yet. Looking at a 2-4x, probably want to just push.
Yeah. Is where you think, okay, here's the things that I could have routed faster. If my opponent did those things, I'm in trouble.
Apparently the Mama Turtle wall item was nothing. I couldn't even tell what that was.
Yeah, I didn't see it. We are getting the information, so we will soon know whether or not
how many of these things are in
logically required.
I mean, I think it has to be at this point, but that Ice Beam is nice.
Yeah, well, I do believe it would be, since we didn't find anything at Mama Turtle or Main Street. Well, no, but they had bombs, so they still could have gotten up here, logically.
Yeah, so Barnage took a save on his escape. I guess it was just to avoid taking extra hits from the Key Hunters, because he doesn't have Crystal Flash ammo. I was thinking it was because he wanted to reverse Lava Dive. Nice turn KO on the crab there from zentrigger, maintaining his downward momentum. And yeah, Barnage, you're grabbing that E-Tank. It's half a second.
It's a nice free refill.
Yeah, nice free refill because he's losing 3.5 tanks here to 3 musketeers. Jesus, dude. Barnage, just X-ray them. You know, E-tanks are free, whatever, doesn't matter. Oh, I don't know. Our tracker is asking if zentrigger got the flute. I don't know.
Was the flute at Aqueduct?
Okay. Okay, because our tracker asks, I'm like, it's already tracked. I don't know. Something's off here to me. But yeah, I guess it was an aqueduct. So I guess that wave beams. What?
Okay, so
what
there we go. We are now have found the logical progression for the seed.
That was how the seed was supposed to go down. Apparently, you're supposed to go into Turtle Rock to get your gravity suit, and then come back to Meridia to go get your boots and your speed booster. I don't even know how to deconvolute this logic. We're still looking for boots, unfortunately, for zentrigger. I really felt like something had to be an ice palace. I lost track of something somewhere. Guess that's what happens when you're commentating and not playing. But
well, it's just, yeah, they were expected to come here and IVJ up to the middle of Meridia.
Yeah, because the IVJ is in logic, and so I guess you could get all the way into Turtle Rock.
So they would have had to come down to the sandpit to get wave, to go back to get speed booster, to come back to Meridia to get the flute, go to Croc to get boots, and flute over to Meyer area.
Dumb seed is dumb logically. And we get our Shack tool check just for Quarter Heart, and that is resetting out of the wave beam, which means I mean zentrigger knows. It means we can't go to Croc yet.
But they may be planning to kill Dragon and then come back through and get it. I mean, they don't really have any checks that they necessarily want to make in Link to the Past to use the Meridia portal.
Yeah, this seed. I could do without this one. Yeah, I'm seeing Rushlight in the chat putting it back together. You're supposed to get your wave, go get speed from Wavegate, then come back to Meridia and double dip front of Meridia for fluted aqueduct, and use that with your mids to go and get to lower norfair. Which is just, it's dumb. I don't approve. Front of Meridia logical double dip is, yeah, chat has it right, trash. Heck this game.
Well, and that's why a lot of the good runners always say, normal logic is trash.
Oh yeah. Shoutouts to Solsky. Solsky, I think, is the only person left alive who prefers normal logic. And Barnage choosing to face right. No baby skip, but did get his health lowered down pretty well. And Barnage should be, you know, only a handful of minutes away from wrapping this one up.
Yeah.
We'll see how he chooses to, you know, handle the rest of the seed, but it's looking like it's going to be a pretty good time for him. It may or may not be the 2-4X that I thought. I think it's going to be fairly close, but if it's not, it should be. He does have charged plasma, but he is taking a lot of safeties here, being sure to, you know, take the saves, make sure that if anything should happen, he's still locking in a pretty reasonable time.
Yeah, well, looks like not trying to do the speed zeb skip, so he's just going to do the zeb skip skip.
Yeah, the old zeb skip skip. Without Ice Beam, I don't think Barnage is good enough at stutter 3s to do the speed zeb skip, and so this is just the right play for him. It's a very tough short charge to get the speed zeb skip, and that's really the only one that's available to him. Yeah, as Barnage is entering the last stretch of this seed, if you haven't yet, go give our runners a follow, show them some support. They've both been playing very, very well for the past, 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I know both of them, are regularly putting out good SMZ3 and or either of those individual games content. And so definitely show them some love if you're enjoying the race. And again, shout outs to Rank 1 for sponsoring the prize pool for this tournament. Definitely great to have something to play for in brackets, which Barnage, assuming that nothing strange happens here, although he did just take a catch-up to the chin, not a great idea, but is through. Assuming he doesn't do something real dumb here in the next couple minutes, he's going to be punching his ticket to the brackets and is going to be playing for those cash prizes. And I know Barnage, I know he's a very good runner, and I think that he has a strong chance of putting up a result when it comes to brackets that'll finish him in the money.
And while you're at it...
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Give my co-commentator, Maniacal, a follow as well.
Absolutely don't. I play trash casual games. Don't follow me. But if you were going to follow me, instead follow my co-commentator, Chadwell, also an SMZ3 runner, and also in this tournament, and has been keeping me in check for the past couple hours, and that alone is probably worth the follow. Barnage is setting up for stand-up glitch here. And looks like he's got it going pretty well. Zentrigger is going back for that wave beam. Does acknowledge at this point that, like, that's part of the logic chain, and it's just like, okay, we're taking this and we're gonna go to Croc. He knows at this point. And so big props to Zentrigger for being sporting and going back and grabbing that wave beam. I like to see it.
Also going to check the plasma.
Yeah, because everything with that wave beam is stitched back together.
Yeah.
you know, it could very easily be plasma at this point.
So without screw attack or plasma, Zentrigger is going to have to use either shine sparks or pseudo screws to deal with the plasma pirates.
Yeah, not great, but I believe that he does know that plasma is available on Lumberjack Ledge, and so I guess he's hedging that it's screw attack to put this in logic rather than plasma, because otherwise this is behind the boots. But is going to immediately set to using pseudo screw, and then I was gonna say maybe doing some short charge, but he has a billion energy tanks, so 2 pseudo screws will kill these plasma pirates. They do hit you pretty good, but you win that. Yeah, wall pirates are weak. Not sure why they're weak, but ground pirates, those guys are tanks, and you have to pseudo screw them or do something else. Barnage setting up for his climb spark, just about done. Coming up on a high 249, or just a high 49 with how his timer is set up here. It's going to be close. I don't quite think he's got it. I actually, I know the answer. I'm not going to spoil it. But it's going to be real tight on whether he's going to get this sub 250. All right. And there it was. I actually didn't know the answer. Because he faced forward on the ship in 2:49.58, but got done in first place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 50 minutes, and 2 seconds. So GG to Maximum Barnage, and we'll see if he wants to come in and chat. I see that he is here in the waiting room. Looks like he will be coming into chat. And yo, GG Maximum Barnage, how you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good, GG.
Oh man, you are heckin' quiet, but I think I heard you laughing, so it seems like you're in pretty good spirits. That was a seed. Let me see if I can't crank you up a little bit over here in the comm controls. Doesn't look like I can, so we're just gonna deal with quiet Barnage for now.
Well, I hope that's my output volume is as high as it goes, so I'm not sure what's causing that.
Okay, yeah, well that does sound a little bit better.
Yeah, at least we can tell that you were here and saying things, and not just like some weird ethereal residue laughing in the background.
Well, that's an improvement, certainly. So
yes. So how are you feeling after that one?
It was that was a pretty crazy one. I felt crazy pretty much the whole time until everything kind of came together. So
yeah, well, it turned out that early croc play was really the best decision you made. That allowed you to get those boots.
I don't know if it was a good decision, but it sure as hell worked out.
Yeah, did you piece the logic of this back together? Because I sure as heck didn't.
No, I didn't piece the logic of this back together.
Yeah, so we ended up finding the wave beam at right sandpit.
Okay, well okay, so
you would have taken that to go back to Brinstar to get speed booster.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, like, Speed Booster didn't really put anything else into logic except for Croc.
Well, it did, actually, because the flute was at Aqueduct, and Space Jump was at Checkerboard.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, like, lower norfair access. I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, not for you, but just in terms of the actual logic.
Yeah, the whole normal mode logic thing. I just sometimes like I play more hard mode than normal mode, so like sometimes I just forget.
Yeah, normal mode's trash is kind of what this one comes down to, but
Yeah.
we're dealing with it.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I felt really good with Morph Ball behind the Aga play that I made. I mean, it seemed like the Steve was pointing really hard there, and I knew that could go really, really wrong. But you guys probably saw some like indecision on what to do once I picked up the items on Death Mountain, and I was thinking of going and doing Zora and all the swimming stuff, and I was like, wait, I could potentially do that after Aga, and I'd have this really efficient. I'd have this really efficient path where I could hit Catfish on the way and knock that out. But it needed to be aggro acquired in order for that to matter. So, or just the Dark Hole needed to be laden with items, and it just so happened to work out this time.
Yeah, so we were a little behind you on that one, or at least I was. And so I was rezzing you pretty good for the Aga play, but I still don't know that I like that Aga play against chasing that Varia suit that you got in Eastern over into Bubble Mountain with those high jump boots.
Oh, I thought about it, but I don't know. I just felt like Aga was the way to go. I wanted to finish off all of Link to the Past, and I was really like up until the moment I went towards Hyrule Castle, I was really, really torn on what to do.
Yeah, I mean, you did front a castle into Upper Castle Tower, and then like basically it lined up as well as it could have for you in the sense that you got hookshot basically immediately.
Oh, well, I actually felt horrible once I got that hookshot because I was like, oh my god, I could have just done the Zora thing and got the hookshot and then wouldn't have had to worry about anything. But like then it turned up blank and I was just like, well, I've already made this Aga play, I may as well chase it. And then it led to Morph Ball, and my thought was, what would be the most painful thing for my opponent to do with this Varia suit but no Morph Ball? And my thoughts went immediately towards Crocomire.
Yeah, Croc was so deep in the logic that like I'll tell you that, I mean, right now zentrigger, if you're not watching the restream, is dropping into Cold Stare, so that gives you an idea how this one kind of went down.
I mean, like once I got the boots at Croc and then saw that they were required inside Desert Palace, I was pretty sure I had it. Like, I mean, I sequence broke there, and I had a really clean route after acquiring Morph Ball. So it was like, unless he did the same thing and then outplayed me in Super Metroid, which is certainly possible because I was not playing very well in Super Metroid today, then I was probably fine.
Yeah, the thing that I think sealed it was the fact that Go Mode -2 was back-to-back. Like, if Bow into Gravity Suit hadn't happened, if it was just Bow, and then zentrigger was brought back to Eastern to get Varia, and then found Gravity kind of in the soup behind Bow, like in Pod or something, if Gravity was in Pod, I think that this is, much more of a race, although there's still the boots quandary, which is sort of where we're still at.
Well, if I hadn't picked up Gravity Suit, I would have just done Dragon Gravity Suit list and done the X-Ray climb.
That's fair, yeah. I mean, that was pretty cozy. No ice beams, so I mean, you had grapple, you had spring ball. Oh, I imagine you would have spring ball jumped it.
I didn't have spring, I didn't think, unless.
Yeah, no. Varnish did not get spring ball because that was up in the attic.
Oh gosh, yeah, you did the upper right ship skip. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, no spring ball. Yeah, so you would have been stuck getting door stuck. But that's a few minutes. And searching for items is, as we're finding out, infinite.
It can be very little time, or it can be so much time. So,
Yeah, how'd you feel when you found that bow?
Well, first of all, I said, why didn't I do this before going to Mimic Cave? And then,
Well, it's because you were Go Mode -2.
I was considering myself Go Mode -1 at that point. So
fair.
But I was like, okay, well, this seems right. You know, I still have a lot to do, but I'm pretty much in Go Mode, and I'm in Go Mode very, very early. So, I thought, you know, I was just gonna roll through as fast as possible. It seemed like, besides the Aga thing, and well, I mean, I guess also the boots, if we're talking about logical requirements for the seed was actually pretty friendly.
Yeah, the Aga requirement and then the logic to boots was really bad. And the logic to boots and like the fact that it could steer you away from Crocomire was pretty brutal.
Yeah, the logic steered away from Crocomire really, really hard. So it was just one of those things where I was like, I had Morph Ball. There is a non-zero possibility that in chasing Morph Ball, my opponent went to Crocomire. So I feel like I can make up some ground here, or, you know, push myself really far ahead if I get a required item here. And it doesn't take that long, so.
And zentrigger is noping out on that X-ray scope. Doesn't want to inspect any items. This is the question now: is when's he gonna go back and get his boots out of Croc's lair? And I think he's probably just gonna last location it.
Yeah, that's rough for him. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if Wave Beam was in, what'd you say, Sandpit?
And he got his Book of Medora and gave a bit of a consternation slash to the Dwarfen Smith.
Oh man.
This is hot garbage, logically. Thanks, normal mode.
Yep. Hard mode tournament win.
We had one of those, but people cried about it.
Yeah, I remember that. But well, anyway, it's almost 1 o'clock for me, so I'm gonna head out.
All right, sounds good, dude. GG, congrats on making it into the brackets at 2-0. You're gonna have a good seed in brackets. You know, how you feeling about brackets before you go?
It's exciting. It seems like it's probably going to be a little ways away, since we still have, you know, a week and a half before the end of group stage. So I'm looking forward to getting in some commentary next week now that all the pressure's off.
Sounds good, dude. I hope that I don't have a match next week. I hope I'm able to wrap it up on Saturday. But if I do end up with one next week, I'll probably hit you up about it.
All right, sounds good. All right,
take it easy, man. Congrats.
Take care, guys. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to comms, restream, trackers, all of that. Thank you guys so much. This wouldn't be possible without you. So, later. Take care.
Yeah, I will echo that, and you know, again, remind you to go follow our, you know, silent behind the scenes folks, or not so silent behind the scenes folks, very active in chat behind the scenes folk in Razor Flamekun, doing all the tracking and keeping track of most of the nonsense of this seed. Has been doing a great job. And looks like zentrigger is headed for that Meyer play.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Unfortunately, probably looking at it, there's 3 items, but between the 2 items inside the dungeon and the green pendant turn-in. Oh no, looks like they are headed to
Lower norfair?
I don't think they checked what GT had last time.
Okay, yeah, fair. I thought they did.
And they can
I thought
just reset
zentrigger
out
had taken a look at it.
Yep. Just gonna
Just a
reset.
reset.
I mean, so that was a quick check.
Yeah, let's cheer Zentrigger on and someone go find out if he has his follow alerts still turned on. I wanna see a follow train at Zentrigger spamming those alerts if he's got them on. I want to get a good chuckle out of this, but no, seriously, show him some love, show him some support in the chat. It's great to see runners finishing out seeds, especially when like you get stuck in this BS logic hole of crappy last locations where the boots can be basically anywhere and they're gating you out of just finishing desert, and like it sucks.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, we know GT3 is
it's
locked.
in a lot
seriously.
of ways. It's sort of like when you're just looking for the ice rod, because it's not locking any items. It's just locking your ability to finish the seed.
Yeah, I mean, like, sure, potentially there's items behind it, whatever, but realistically, it's just standing in the way of you finishing the seed, and all you want is for the seed to be done. We are going to see that Meyer play. But yeah, we are going to find out what's in Misery Mire. It will remain a mystery no more.
And there's very little that we still haven't found. Screw attack is about it.
Yeah, and so the good news for Zentrigger is he sets himself up after the loss here for a rematch against Whirly. And Whirly was the person whom he beat to earn his place in this match. So if he can just 2-0 Whirly, he will still be in good shape to make it into brackets at a Group V. Whirly, of course, is going to be looking for his chance at revenge. Going to be scrutinizing that VOD and this VOD and trying to figure out where to get that edge.
Yep.
I guess hint is break logic and go to Croc. That seems to be the way to win this one. But that's a little what we were talking about at the beginning of the seed, was just the way these things go badly is not by being thorough, but by accidentally skipping a location and going and ending up last locationing something important there. And here, it wasn't Zentrigger's fault. Like, I can't blame Zentrigger, I can only credit Barnage on having made the play to Croc. Which, to be fair, I was pretty hard on him about. Like, I was like, yeah, it's boots, whatever. You did an out-of-logic play, you really didn't want those that much, it was kind of time neutral, but as we turned out, it's the difference between winning by a half hour and not. So,
yeah,
that's not unusual.
Unfortunately, with the placement of those boots and the way that Zentrigger routed it, it just was not a location he was going to check.
Yeah, and I mean, the chance for him to check it was when he was doing the out-of-logic Ice Beam and Crumble Tower stuff. And now he's going to, if not last location, very nearly last location that. Now, he does have the information that his opponent finished in a 250, and so it's possible that he could metagame that a little, but it's also irrelevant, and so I kind of expect to see Zentrigger, just kind of play his game and see where those boots show up.
Because unfortunately at this point, he has all the last fetch quest, and
yeah, oh boy,
and the book locations.
Yeah, that is. Mushroom is not the item you wanted to find there. It's not even the non-boots item that you wanted to find there. It was the item that you didn't want to find there. We might find out what's at the one, but we got the flute active. Whatever, do it.
Yeah, I do wonder whether Zentrigger is going to finish doing all of this Link to the Past cleanup before checking out Crocomire.
I mean, I kind of approve of it. Like, if he's not gonna metagame, I want to see him go and, finish the Link to the Past stuff, go pull pedestal, have fun with it, and get his, 253 item collection rate. Really, what I want to do is I want to go to sleep, but, I'm enjoying that he's kind of going down this road. He's going to show us all the things.
Yeah, and we are going to get to see where everything was. And
yeah, we've unraveled the puzzle as much as we're going to. We found all the pertinent items. We haven't found Screw Attack yet. But we may yet find it.
And I think that is pretty much the only unique item left that we have not located.
Yeah, I can't think anything else. It really does seem to be, I think it's just Screw Attack at this point. We've got all the other stuff, so the only thing of tangential value that is left is Screw Attack. Otherwise, we're just kind of, looking at crap. Our illustrious tracker Razor Flame Kun wants Screw Attack in Ganon's Tower.
I mean, that's possible, in which case we will not see it.
I wouldn't rule it out yet.
Well, I'm just saying, with
it depends what level of misanthropy Zentrigger is experiencing.
Well, that's true. He could decide to full clear Ganon's Tower just because.
I want to see what's on this green pendant turn in. I'm excited. What has Sahasrara been hiding? Is it Vanilla Boots? It's not Vanilla Boots.
I'm gonna guess it's like 20 rupees.
My money's on Missile Pack. But for Zentrigger, it may still be Vanilla Boots. I lost a seed by like 20 minutes one weekly because of Vanilla Boots. Super Nintailor's got the vote for 3 booms. He feels it.
That is 300 rupees.
One of our 5 300 rupee drops. That was probably pretty low. That one paid out good odds in Vegas if anyone had 300 rupees. Yeah, he can buy a ton of bombs.
It looks like we are going to be getting the ped check.
I expected nothing less. I sincerely doubt that he expects that his opponent pulled ped in this seed based on finish time. But I don't rule it out. I hope we read ped. He's got the book out, so he might give us the text before the pull.
Well, I don't think he finished Tower of Hera.
Okay. It is a super missile pack.
Yep.
That's true. If he didn't do Tower of Hera, I think we're headed back for Croc. I think that's all that remains.
Yeah. Croc and Ether Tablet, and I assume he's just going to go to Croc first. Well, looks like
You would be incorrect, sir.
So we are going to get.
We're getting that Link to the Past hundo. Yeah, we did see Shack Tool. It was a quarter heart, if I remember right. Or our tracker says it was nothing. Rip the 20 heart quest. You see where your heart lies, Razor Flame Kun. We had a 6-player multi the other night where one of the players got 19 3/4 hearts, and we were all kind of trying to make it happen, and we didn't get there.
I think the best I've ever gotten in a multi was 18 hearts.
Yeah, I've had 18 even in a solo SMZ3 before. I don't know if I've hit 19 in a multi. I've never seen anyone hit 20, so we're kind of trying to make it happen. I full cleared the bottom of GT looking, because we had players who were still kind of like looking for go mode and stuff, and so it was fine to waste the time trying to get 20 hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Alas.
And now we are seeing the Croc play because zentrigger has nothing else to check.
It is literally zentrigger knows the item is here. He's full clear the rest of the game, scouted ped. Yeah, dear Crocs in chat, run DCM. This is a croc. It's a croc of poop.
Yeah, this was a always bet on Croc seed.
Croc wasn't even in logic. Croc just like straight up holding on to stuff, being a jerk. Even giving bad swipe RNG. There we go. Alright, Croc giving pretty good RNG. He's a good boy. He's back in my good graces. And just no sooner than I put him back in my good graces, he gives us a swipe. What a jerk.
So I'm guessing that means that Screw Attack is in Ganon's tower someplace.
Yeah, so I see we have Whirly in chat scouting, seeing the result of this match. Our 1-1 player from Group V gonna get that rematch with zentrigger. How do you feel about the second shot at zentrigger, Whirly? I'm looking forward to it. That's right. We're at the stage of this where we're interviewing the chat while zentrigger at 3:16 and 12 seconds gets his boots and does a little celebratory party spam.
Yeah, I'm not sure how celebratory that was, as opposed to a war dance of rage.
Nah, that was pure unadulterated joy. I will accept no other answer. And Whirly informing us that he has gotten more confident in his routing and is feeling ready for the rematch. So, them some spicy words. I'm excited. I'm excited for that rematch. I love that in the group stage, players can get like a second crack at one another if the 2v3 matchup, or I guess even if the 1v4 matchup, ended up being particularly compelling. I kind of am enamored with this this tournament format. So we have the GSL style group stage where the 1 plays the 4, the 2 plays the 3, the winners play, the losers play, and then the loser's winner plays the winner's loser, and so we can have a rematch or a hot fresh match to decide who makes it in. Because it's basically play until you get 2 wins or until you get 2 losses.
Yeah, it is an interesting way of deciding who makes the brackets.
Yeah, I love that everyone gets to play until 2 losses, and once you earn 2 wins, you don't have to play anymore. I think that's just a cool way to play it out. It's sort of like double elim, where if you're winning a bunch, you don't need to stay there and defend until you have, until you've double eliminated everyone. And there is that small key. We're gonna go get our big key on right side. Or no, we're going back in to look at that chest again.
Yeah, you already checked that chest.
It was just a map.
It was boots locked.
Yeah, and staying away from Crocomire until then was very, very reasonable, honestly.
Yeah, it makes sense. A lot of times, Croc, is a time-consuming gamble if there's nothing there.
And Error, another one of our runners, from a different group though, hanging out in chat, also a participant in the tournament, pointing out that if you just win twice out of the gate, if you go 2-0, you cheat yourself out of a match, and I'll go one further, you actually cheat yourself out of potentially 2 matches, because you could even get a bye in the first round of the playoff bracket, because we aren't going to have an even 64 players through, and so about half of the players are going to get byes. So if you don't like playing SMZ3, like me, you want to go 2-0, but if you like playing SMZ3, 2-1 might be more your jam. Yeah, you go 2-1, you get to play in that initial round in the bracket, and then with that out of the way, then you move on and you start playing against, in all probability, most players are going to play against some of the 2-0 players who've been rusty and haven't been playing, unless they've been doing the community weeklies or some of the pickup races that we have. So I think it's a good time to shout out some of those.
Yeah, there have been quite a lot of practice races going on almost pretty much every day.
Yeah, for sure. We have two weeklies. We have Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, Eastern Daylight Time, U.S. time, as it is currently, and then Sunday 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or Monday 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Sorry. Open entry weekly races on SRL that anyone's welcome to join. You don't need to be in the tournament to join, and a lot of the tournament competitors are going to show up. So if you feel like taking a crack at some SMZ3, maybe you didn't enter the tournament, but you're seeing the tournament, you're feeling like, man, this game that obviously sucks looks actually pretty fun. I'll probably be there and complaining about it, and so will a bunch of other people, and we'll all experience the misery of the normal logic together. And so those are good times. And also the SMZ3 Discord, there's a lot of pickup races. You can add a races role over there and jump in on a bunch of pickup races. Tournament and non-tournament players happen in there too. So a lot of opportunities to, engage this community. It's a very good community. Generally a small community, but yet the turnout for this tournament was 95 players, which is just awesome. 24 groups. It's pretty darn good. It's going to put 2 people per group. So we're going to have 48 people through to the playoffs, single elim bracket, reverse seeded, which, as our tracker does point out, there are some 2-0s who are going to have to play in the first round in the bracket, because it's not quite working out such that all the people who went 2-1 are going to play one another. So we are going to see some of the lower seeded 2-0s end up playing in the first round. But most players who go 2-0 are going to receive a bye, more than half.
Yeah, and if racing SMZ3 is not necessarily a thing, you can also check out the SMZ3 multi-world Discord and potentially participate in some group efforts to beat the game cooperatively.
So there's that big key for zentrigger. A little bit of a spell to the misery of this one after those required boots, but looks like we are going to... Oh, nope, he's just picking up the key. I was going to say, we were going to maybe see that full clear. I was kind of holding on to where is the screw attack going to be, but yeah, zentrigger's just got to make his way through Ganon's tower and then go back and finish up Torian. But yeah, good point about the multi-world. Races and casual sort of co-op multi-worlds alike happening all the time over there. Whirly in chat has revealed to me that he is active over in the multi-world community. So if you want to play with Whirly, that's a good way to get in on that action. He is in the sleepiest of the groups. Yeah, I'm actually really impressed. There's a ton of names in this tournament. I'm pretty active in the community, doing a lot of races and stuff, and only knew, I think it was 78 of the 95 entrants. I think that there were 17 players whom I didn't know coming into the tournament, which doesn't sound like a lot, but like, for a small community, having 17 people who've been there and playing on a level that they want to engage a tournament is really impressive. I'm really excited to see the run some of these new folks are putting up. And some of them have been very, very impressive. And so I hope to see more of them playing.
Yeah, and I think that's always, just having a tournament get some people to try stuff out for the first time.
Absolutely, there's definitely some of that. Some people who've been doing multi-worlds kind of only or playing casually decide, you know what, I'm going to give it a go. And, there's really nothing to lose by joining up in these races. And even in the tournament, you get a guaranteed 2 matches, probably 3 matches.
Yeah.
And if you win 2 of them, then you're through into brackets and maybe you win some cash.
And even if you don't necessarily win any races, if you are in a restreamed race, you can listen to the commentators, get some feedback on your play.
Yeah, my apologies if you aren't really into racing and I commentate your race. You don't want my feedback. But, you'll probably get it anyway if I commentate. But yeah, the caution in chat coming out that if you do decide to jump right into the multi-worlds, some of them can take some time. I'm usually pretty wary about when I do multi-worlds, which is why I don't do a ton of them, but they can take 4, 5, 6, 7 hours sometimes, because the items are scrambled not just between your games, but between other people's games too. And that can turn into a real mess of logic. Tracking the multi-world logic is another beast entirely.
Oh yeah, if you thought the logic in this seed got convoluted and bad, you've really seen nothing.
Although, the worst is like when your own item ends up in your seed in multi-world in a crappy location. I've done like 4 or 5+ player multi-worlds, and I've had my own hook shot on my own left side swamp, and the real good one was my own moon pearl on my pyramid.
Oh gosh.
Which I haven't even had my own moon pearl on my pyramid in a 1v1 seed. Yet in a 5-way multi, when there's 1,000 locations, of course it's there.
I have had the ice rod in Turtle Rock, or the fire rod in Ice Palace.
Yeah, so, multi-world enters a brand new sphere of trolling you with this game. Nice triple from zentrigger setting up Aga 2 here. See if he closes it out. Yo! That was a sick double triple from zentrigger. Those involve RNG going your way and good execution. That was beautiful. Hope y'all enjoy. That was worth sticking around for.
Yeah, you don't see those very often.
And we gotta drop into Ganon's tower, finish this, go do Torian, and it looks like we'll be finishing up with zentrigger in like a high 3-3x time.
Yeah, similar to Maximum Barnage, this should be a very easy fight for zentrigger.
Yep, zentrigger found literally all the things except for the screw attack, which he doesn't want for Torian anyway. So far, a pretty nice Ganon fight. And gets the torch glitch, decides against the triple, decides to just, you know, go for, you know, a pretty clean, easy Silver's kill. Have to light the torch one more time, but not going to lose that much time. After playing for 3.5 hours, I can totally get just kind of going through the motions, chilling, and taking the cozy, easy Ganon.
Yeah, no gambles, just take the straight, easy kill.
Yeah, definitely get those G's in chat for zentrigger. And he'll be on his way to reset and go to Torian. Oh no, we're going back into Link. Okay, now we're resetting. Okay, I was gonna say we're going back to the pyramid for bonus Ganon. I'd be down for bonus Ganon, because why not? But zentrigger 115, 60, 35, 11 E-tanks. At least 2 reserves. No plasma, no concern.
No, that ammo count is quite safe.
Yeah, he got Ice Beam, he got everything he could reasonably want. Doesn't want Screw Attack for Torian anyway, so kind of nice that he dodged that. Because that just makes the Zebetite skip a little more difficult. Or, not more difficult, it means that you have to pursue a different strategy for Zebetite skip, which most people regard to be more difficult.
You have to do the down back strat.
Yeah, down back or speed. But, or Spring Ball, for that matter. He does have Spring Ball. Yeah, or you have to do the menu of shame and turn off the screw attack, which is what most people do. That's what I do. I give it like one go at speed Zeb skip, do a really bad attempt at a stutter 3, and then like shamefully menu and turn off the screw attack. Or I just don't even bother, and I menu and turn it off when I'm turning off Varia for stand up. My Torian's real bad. But zentrigger's having a pretty nice Torian here, making real quick work of it, using that Ice Beam. I can count on like one hand the number of times I've gotten echoes off of the stupid bridge for the speed Zeb skip, but yet like I find myself going for it like, you know, a reasonable percentage of the time where I have screw attack. Because I don't know, because I'm bad. Because practice makes perfect, darn it.
And we'll see if zentrigger decides to do the baby skip.
Yeah, I want to see an attempt at baby skip here from zentrigger. Looks like he's turning off Varia. I think that means, you know, I'm gonna go for baby skip. He's not taking damage from the hopper here. but in case I get grabbed, I'm gonna get my health drained faster. And so, good luck, Zentrigger, on your baby skip. It's a low lag skip, which is gonna be tougher. Oh, and yeah, he got crouch locked there, it looked like. So, unfortunate, but didn't lose too much time. Yeah, while Zentrigger is finishing up, let me take a look at the schedule and see. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that was our last race for tonight. But tomorrow night, well, we've got at 7:10 p.m. Eastern, Silver Rain vs. Solsky. Or Silver Rain 64 vs. Solsky. That's going to be right here on SpeedGaming. And that's going to be a 1-0 versus 1-0 match. Decide who gets into brackets out of Group R, which is comprised entirely of players with S's beginning their names. We had Silver Rain, Solsky, Sailor Nep, and oh gosh, who else was it? Sloters 27. That's who it was. The boy Sloters. Then at 7:40 p.m. we got Relkin vs. Migs on SpeedGaming 3. 8:10 p.m. Blandation vs. Ashdar. And of course these matches aren't going to take only 30 minutes, so I hope you have at least 3 monitors. Also, concurrently at 8:10 p.m., my man Ninjembro versus Wait, You Can Freeze the Shrimpy Man's Ivan on SpeedGaming 2. That is a packed night, and really all 4 of those are interesting matchups. I think they're all 1-0 versus 1-0 matches too, so they're all going to put someone into brackets. And then we're going to have Hitaka and Ndiaz at 10:10 Eastern. That one's not yet assigned a channel, but we've got 5 races for you tomorrow evening. So if you enjoyed this, be sure to come back tomorrow evening. SpeedGaming 2, SpeedGaming 3, and SpeedGaming 5 all going to be full SMZ3 for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be a very packed schedule. We'll be sort of taking over the SpeedGaming network for a bit.
Nice stand-up here. Zentrigger using Spazer stand-up. Without X-Ray, did need to be a little careful. Could potentially have gotten crouch-locked in a bad spot. But doing an okay job of getting Baby to eat all those onion rings. The Baby Metroid needs to eat 40 onion rings in order to sustain a lethal food coma here. And looks like it has gotten all the food it wants, and it's going to go down for a nap. It'll be back soon. Never mind the explosions. That's how babies work, right? You feed them enough onion rings, they take a nap. I think that's how babies work. Don't actually know. But Mother Brain 3 is dead. Zentrigger got a good head start there with that stand-up, but you can't really do too much with the full Spazer combo. Just doesn't deal enough damage. She can save maybe 7 or 8 seconds, and I think he got most of that there. And he is on his way to the escape. So the big question we have, other than will he get the sub 340, which it looks like he will. He's got, a minute and a half left to finish his escape. So unless he saves the animals, and maybe even if, he'll be able to get that sub 340. But yeah, this is looking like a good escape so far. Nice moonfall there.
Yep, seems to be. I mean, having the full set of equipment does give you that sort of make sure that all of your jumps and everything are the way you're used to.
Yeah, this is absolutely a strong loadout for finishing SMZ3, as one would expect from full clearing both games looking for the boots. And so you see him passing by the animals, making his way over into the landing. And he is going to hit the ship here. And he is going to done in second place with an official SRL time of 3 hours, 39 minutes, and 27 seconds. So big GG's to zentrigger in the chat. Super stoked that he finished that one out. And he has actually already let me know that he's going to be coming into chat here. So we'll see if we can get him in to tell us heck boots in person. Because I'm sure that that's basically the whole texture of the interview. And our tracker's duty is done. So big thanks to Razor Flame Kun for helping us tonight. Be sure to show him some love, give him a follow. And welcome to zentrigger, our most recent finisher. GG, dude.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That one was a doozy.
It was only a doozy because I knew Maximum Barnage had me with his mechanics through and through, so I had to make a bunch of random gambles. A bunch of them paid off, but finding Various so late, I had to bet that it led to nothing in order for me to not lose a ton of time. Instead, it led to boots, which then led to even more lost time.
Yeah, that was the real unfortunate thing of it. Was Barnage was in Eastern pretty early and did get Varia, but then didn't chase it. And actually, you both were proactive about making the Aga play against trying to take high jump and Varia, which he had, or just high jump over into Bubble Mountain, which would have been out of logic until you went to Eastern. But you kind of stayed on a very similar route. But when he did go into Upper Norfair, he just cleared it out because he had Varia early and ended up with those boots ahead of things and was kind of right behind you into Turtle Rock. And so we knew he was going to find his bow there and end up also spiking gravity just for free.
Yeah. Oh, when I saw that, I was like, oh no, here it goes. Everything is not turning up well.
Yeah, bow into gravity there is it's a beating. Because if it was just bow, then you end up in Eastern, you get your Varia, and the chase is kind of on to where's gravity going to show up. And I think you were a little behind in that one. But were you keeping track of the logic in this seed? Just out of curiosity?
A little bit. So when I saw gravity, I was like, okay, well, I can do Meridia. Then I got Varia. And as soon as I ran to Lower Norfair and found Screw Attack, I was like, okay, so my logical progression is definitely Flute, so I gotta stick on this track now.
Yeah, I was so shocked, so shocked to see Wave Beam and Flute show up in Meridia after Space Jump was where it was. I thought that one of them had to be an Ice Palace. I really did.
Yeah, I was hoping something would be there, but
yeah, the logic wanted you to take your Flute to go and activate the flute to go and get your space jump, or I don't even remember. It was an awful chain of things.
You were supposed to go through get the gravity in Turtle Rock, go into Meridia to get your wave beam, to go back to the Brinstar Wave Gate to get your speed booster.
Oh god, yeah, I forgot about speed booster.
Yeah, it was really the speed booster and wave, or speed booster was behind wave, and wave and speed were your two pieces of access to Croc's lair. And so like Croc was way behind like Meridia in the sand pit.
I didn't even think of that, but yeah, wow, that's I am so glad I don't have to stick with that.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it was a mess because there were like a bunch of things behind the speed booster. I feel like Hookshot showed up there, and something was in wrecked ship, and like it was this convoluted mess. And I had myself convinced that something had to be an ice palace, and then everything showed up in Meridia, and I was like, wait, how did we get here? What just happened in the logic? Thanks, normal mode.
Right, trying to backtrack that logic had to be insane.
Yeah, thankfully chat was on it and was helping out with it. But yeah, this was quite the seed, it turns out.
Very. When I found that fire rod early on, I was really, really crossing my fingers that was going to be a locked fire source, and that might be a last check location. Because most people don't go down, so that was my first gamble early on, and it didn't end up paying off at all.
Yeah, unfortunately, had there been something at Skull Woods, you would have had a nice advantage because of that, but it was just garbage in the back.
Yep, and that was the big gamble why I decided to skip Eastern right away and go right for Aga. Was as soon as I had access to clear Skull Woods, even though Link to the Past by far my worst game, I was like, if I can clear that and it's something that might put us even.
Yeah, I mean, it made sense. Unfortunately, the two items behind Fire Rod and Skull Woods, because they were both there, turned out to just be garbage. And if something was there, that could have really shifted the texture of the seed in your favor in terms of the race, because Barnage, like you expected, didn't go down to Bryn, didn't get that Fire Rod, did clear the front of Skull Woods when he got over there, because he'd also been proactive about Aga, and just basically wasted 2.5 minutes doing nothing, or whatever it took. And so, there was good potential for you to get a little bit of an edge out of it, and it just unfortunately didn't quite pan out.
Yeah, gambles only got so far. But it was good overall. I mean, overall, I'm not too disappointed with most of the seed.
Yeah, and so, this was a 1-0 versus 1-0 match. You earned your way here by beating Whirly, and you have set yourself up now for a 1-1 rematch against Whirly. How do you feel about it?
I feel excited. Like, it was really, really close. The only reason I won our last match was because he forgot to check in Swamp. It was Big Key on Argus and Titans on Big Chest. So it was really, really neck and neck until that point. And so it should be a really good race.
Yeah, but Whirly here in chat also saying he's pretty excited about it. Says he's been putting in practice ready for the rematch, so I'm excited about that one. I think it's going to be a good game.
Definitely should be.
But yeah, this one was rough, but I'll echo the chat sentiments that we're all happy that you chose to stick this one through, solve it, and show us where the horrible logic actually wanted you to go. And help us deconvolute the trash that was the sequence to boots.
That's what I'm here for. I will help uncover every item in the seed.
And you did. We still don't know where Screw Attack was.
Oh, Lord. It's got to be Bombo's tablet, right? I think there's only 2 locations I end up not checking.
We saw Bombo's tablet.
Yeah, I saw Bombo's tablet. I think it had to be somewhere in Ganon's tower.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I think every single thing was checked that was not Ganon's tower. If there was a location that was missed, I've forgotten what it was. Pretty sure it had to be further in left side GT or in upper GT if there were chests that went unchecked.
I'm guessing Plasma had to be in GT2 then.
Plasma was Lumberjack.
Oh, I never even bothered checking.
Yeah, so Barnage did check early and did, after rushing Aga and breaking his boots, go and grab Plasma and had that for quite a while.
Nice. Very fortunate.
And so, yeah, that one worked out for him. That stupid Croc, man. Stupid Croc.
Always bet on Croc.
Apparently, even when it's egregiously out of logic. just gate glitch into Croc, just don't even care. Hell run, whatever it's going to take, go get those 5 items.
Exactly.
But yeah. Anything else you wanted to say about this one, zentrigger?
Just screw boots. And thank you guys so much for everything you do, putting this on. It's been a lot of fun. Looking forward to future matches.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you for letting us have you in to do the interview and chatting with us a little bit, and for letting us commentate the race. It was a lot of fun. It was a super cool race, honestly. If you watch it back, hopefully you enjoy it. It was very interesting for quite a while, and then of course, like once everything fell into place and Turtle Rock was revealed, then it kind of became, okay, well, this is the eventuality of it. But as with most of these, very exciting, pretty deep into the seed, kind of anyone's game sort of territory. And so I think that's kind of what we all love about this SMZ3.
Yeah, I would say until we saw that Desert was boots locked, we really would not have known who was going to take this race in the end.
Yeah, and even then, until we found Bo, like Bo and Gravity, and depending on Barnage's comfort with doing the X-ray climb out of Dragon, like that was going to be part of the narrative of the seed. And so, like, even all the way into Turtle Rock, it was a very, very cool race. Definitely enjoyed it. But I think that's going to do it for us for this one. So, Chatteron, I'll let you shut it down for us. Thank you so much for letting me join you on commentary.
Yeah, well, thank you for letting me join. One more time, give the runners a follow. They put on a great race. Give my co-commentator a follow, even if he doesn't want it. Give the tracker a follow. And I think that should be it. Enjoy your race, and this was SpeedGaming. Signing off.